Okay, go ahead and have a seat.
Okay.
And speak to the camera whenever you're ready.
My name is Lagundo. I'm making this video roughly 2 hours before it will be shown to me. I have, of my own free accord, elected to undergo the procedure colloquially known as severance. I give consent for my perceptual chronologies to be surgically split, separating my gameplay from my work life and my personal life. I'm aware this alteration is comprehensive and irreversible. I make these statements freely.
Hello, and welcome to the Minecraft Severance Program.
The what now?
You've elected to have your consciousness split in half.
No, I'm pretty sure I didn't do that.
And over the next 100 days, you and your other half will take turns playing in one Minecraft world, all while sharing a body.
That sounds terrifying.
Sounds fun, right? You've each been given a task you need the other person to complete before time is up. But remember, communication between you and your other half is strictly prohibited.
Wait, how will I know what to do?
Remember, the work you do here is both mysterious and important. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, what the heck is going on?
Perfect. Let's get started.
It's the first day of a brand new adventure, and this one doesn't work how most of my 100 days do. It's gonna take a little explaining. I'm gonna do it as we go, but the best way to start is at the beginning. And it's almost like the game knows, a frozen landscape being the perfect setting to start this adventure. I ran out and along the ice, just finding my very first tree, punch tree, get wood, make a crafting table and pickaxe, but I thought I'd mix it up, breaking a little bit of water and diving down pretty deep into the caves to get my first few blocks of cobblestone, upgrade my pickaxe, and then start getting some iron. There were a few mobs around here, and I'm getting into a fight a little bit earlier than I normally do, but I have to move fast. I only have 10 days before the first transition, and I need to get not only myself, but somebody else up and running quickly. I grabbed a little bit of coal, made some torches, made an axe, went out and doing a little bit of fighting, just trying really hard to get these few pieces of iron, but being harried by so many zombies, to the point where I didn't really have enough, so I decided to cut ties. Unfortunately for me, oh no, that's a problem. My way up froze. Oh no. So with my escape route no longer an escape route, I swam up another little channel of water, making my way up to the surface through a little bit more digging than I was ready for, but not too much. I ran out of the snowy area to greener pastures, picking up some flowers along the way, eating rotten flesh to keep myself sustained, and setting up a furnace to smelt the iron, grabbing a single piece of gravel, which turned into flint. Guess I'm lucky here. Making myself a flint and steel, and cooking and killing some food with legs. With that done, I made myself a chest plate and a few upgraded iron tools, looking around for what I can do. I don't have a bed just yet. I haven't seen a single sheep, so I'm gonna have to work through the night, sailing out on the ocean, which is thankfully a little bit safer, fighting off creepers and spiders, and realizing maybe I should go for silk sheets this time around. Killing mobs as the rain started to pour, watching an enderman whoop around mindlessly, just trying to find a space to get dry. I kept hunting around, finding all the spiders that I could, killing just enough to make a bed right as the sun was already starting to rise, but I wanted to get that advancement. The following morning, after the world's shortest nap, I picked up a little bit of sugarcane and, wouldn't you know it, sure, now I find the sheep. Ignoring the sheep for now, I'm just running around grabbing resources, finding a pretty cool base that I might want to call home. I looked around the grotto a little bit more, grabbing a little bit of coal outside of the walls, checking out the god rays coming through the terrain, and I always love a space like this, and the flooded caves underneath are a really good way to head down and get some resources. The only thing is I need a little bit more wood to make some doors for diving equipment, and in chopping those down, I saw glaciers off to the north and a few sunken ships in that direction. I looted the first and then ran my way along the ice caps, swimming in the water and thankfully not having a temperature mod to deal with, making my way to the second ship, which was far more buried in the ice and required a bit of extra excavation to explore. And I actually gotta give a shout out here, that bundle that I crafted for myself is doing the work for early game inventory management. I thought, that can't be that good, but it's really, really helping. But it can only help so much, and I'm gonna need a place to stay. So I crafted myself up a bucket, and between that and the moss blocks, unflooded the lower chamber of the ship and started to create myself a small safe space where I could drop off a bunch of blocks, tools, inventory, and sleep for the night. The following morning, I threw a few torches around so I wouldn't lose the ship and my other self could potentially find it in the future, heading off to where the treasure map was leading me, grabbing all of the supplies there and leaving the map behind. There's a village in the distance that I ran over towards to grab all of the potatoes and a few other supplies, checking out what I could find in all of the houses, grabbing some emeralds, cycling some trades, but not wanting to do any shopping right now. Right next to the village was a lava pool and the smallest swamp I've ever seen with a witch hut hiding inside. Mark that off for later, I'm gonna come back here. I grabbed a little bit more coal from all of the mountains, checking my map to just see what's around, picking up some pumpkins and diving into a flooded ravine, trying to see if there was a way down to grab some supplies. Unfortunately, I kinda struck out there, only getting a few pieces of lapis, making my way back up to the surface, chopping some trees, and then doing a big loop circling back over towards the boat, dropping off a bunch of my supplies in the chest, having a quick little nap. But before we get too much further into my adventure, I need to thank the sponsor of today's video, Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus. Tacticus is an exciting turn-based tactical strategy game set in the eternal conflict of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, where you can bring over 70 legendary champions from 17 playable factions all into the fight. You can recruit, expand and upgrade your army and your champions, building out a unique team to synergize and take your opponents down. There's several PvE campaigns, including ones where you fight both sides, custom PvP games, live events, guild raids, and so much more. And the game is always expanding, with its 3rd anniversary right around the corner. And if you want to jumpstart in building your army and conquering the universe, use the code you see on screen right now for 2,000 gold and 50 blackstones to help jumpstart your conquests. Thank you so much to Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus for sponsoring the video, and let's get back into my adventure. Going into day 4, where I finally made myself some proper diving equipment, as well as a campfire that I wanted to put on the mast of the ship so there would be smoke, very obviously leading my other self to it. I returned back to the grotto, as that was one of the deepest cave spots I had seen so far, camping out on top of magma blocks and putting down doors so I could mine up the iron that's hidden underneath the water here. I heard the calls of zombies and dug into a nearby cave, finding a tiny little air pocket that just supported a few monsters, and started digging down, breaking a pickaxe and replacing it along the way, digging into the tiniest little cave that was honestly making me feel just a little bit claustrophobic. So I headed back up into the water and then headed out to the east to find a spot where the ocean floor dipped low, putting down a door to pick up some iron and immediately digging into a massive geode. That was a pretty cool find, as it leads towards my objective. Well, my other me's objective. Because in this video, each of us has a goal that we need to convince the other to do without communicating. No written words are allowed. The code detectors will catch that. So we need to find a way to tell the other to do something. And my objective is pretty complicated. I need to convince Brock to achieve both the Like a Balloon and Uneasy Alliance achievements in the overworld, which means that Brock is going to need to fish a ghast through a portal, look at it with a telescope, and then kill it. So Amethyst is a big tick in the right direction. But I don't know how to communicate things like killing and ghasts without any words. Returning back to the caves I was digging through though, I'm just trying to get whatever resources I can, mining through a bunch of different caves, digging along, finding a little bit of lapis, and making my way into a cave, finding my first few diamonds, upgrading my pickaxe in the process, and seeing the telltale wall of a trial chamber. I started digging in just to get an idea of what room I was looking at, but blocked that off for now. I am not ready for that kind of combat challenge just yet. So instead, I started pillaring my way back up into the surface underneath the water and making a small column lighting it so it'd be easy to find in the future. With that done, I ran along the icebergs right as it rolled over into day 5, realizing I'd only looted one of the chests of the first crashed ship that I had found, and there was a map there waiting, pointing me to more buried treasure. I dug through the ice, being exactly on for where all of the goodies could be found, leaving the map behind, marking the treasure chest so Brock would potentially find it in the future, and returning back to my ship, where I need to do a little bit of work to make this place a home for 2. I added some additional storage, started smelting up all of the raw iron I had been focused on collecting, and then just started expanding this space, making the actual living quarters a little bit more livable, and then focusing on draining the front half of the ship so I could set up a small bit of farming space over here. Also, just to have more space that was safe, warm, and dry. I only have one bucket, so I'm doing a lot of just blocking off water with dirt, using the bucket to clear any waterlogged blocks, and going through the tedious process of making this place safe. Setting up some wooden stairs to connect all of the levels, breaking off a little bit of ice to carve out some additional paths, and finally sealing the bedroom with the door. You know, that's probably useful. The next day I turned my attention to food. Since shelter was accounted for, or at least a temporary one where we can get started, I'm gonna need some supplies. So I grabbed all of the dirt that I had, waterlogged a stair so it wouldn't potentially freeze over, made myself a stone cutter that would allow me to cut a bunch of the blocks of tuff I had found into stairs to make a path up, and set up a small farming plot right here on the iceberg in the middle of the ocean. The only problem is I'm a little bit short on dirt because, you know, they don't normally make farming plots on the middle of icebergs. So I had to go out and grab a bit more wood and dirt to get everything connected, crafted up, and well lit. I planted a bunch of saplings out on the nearby island so that more wood could grow, grabbing a bit more resources, having to waterlog a second stair to make sure that everything was properly hydrated, and planted carrots, potatoes, and wheat. So I'd have that for any potential foods. And that just took all day. Some days you just need to make a grocery run, okay? But the next day I am very close to the first transition, which means I need to get myself a little bit better geared up so Brock is a little bit better geared up, and I need to figure out how to give my first clue as far as what he needs to do. So first things first was just heading out, grabbing as much wood as I could muster, so I had a whole bunch of supplies, baking some potatoes once I returned back home, making myself a golden apple so I could have that for healing, and upgrading my tools, and making myself a replacement iron axe and sword. We're gonna go get into a bit of a fight. I made a shield and then ran along the icebergs, making it back to the cobblestone pillar I had made, and then digging down, trying to outrun the water every so often so that I can make it down into the cave I had created, accidentally kind of almost drowning in the process. That was unfortunate. But I made myself a safe landing spot, created a little bit of a forward operating base with chests right outside the wall, and dug into the trial chamber. I'm going to want to fight around here because it is one of the easiest ways for me to get a whole bunch of loot and some tool upgrades that could make this whole process a lot simpler. The first room is thankfully only breezes and skeletons, and as long as they don't have enchanted bows, I'm pretty much, oh no, this one has an enchanted bow. I had to duck behind a wall, eating my golden apple to recover my health. But I was able to dispatch it as well as the breezes in here, checking all of the dispensers, picking up another water bucket, some snowballs, other supplies, but unfortunately no keys. Heading down the doorway, I found a chest with some milk. It's milk. It's silk. I'm saying it correctly.
You're saying silk different than milk.
No, I'm not.
Milk. Silk.
Looting a few other chests and taking stairs upwards into the main corridor of the trial chamber. The few central zombie and skeleton spawners weren't that big of a deal to work my way through, as long as I could make sure to line all the enemies up so they would take each other out instead of focusing all of that fire in my direction, smashing whatever pots I could find, like the best Link impression I could do, grabbing a whole bunch of iron, bricks, pearls, and other supplies, but getting rewarded for my destructive behavior. That's a block of diamonds. Oh, that's so good. Oh baby. Perfect. I took my first key, opening my very first vault, getting a little bit more on the mineral resource front, taking a spiral staircase that led me to the midpoint plus of the central tower structure, heading over towards the beds area, realizing that we were into day 8 already. My inventory is already starting to overflow, even with one bundle. I'm trying to get more resources. I'm really hoping I could find some spider spawners so I could get a bit more string and double up, because I'm finding things like keys in some of the pots. But as I was working my way around here, a glitch started here. Well, I'm really glad that this one's not in hardcore. Yeah, we don't want a death ruining this video idea. It is more so about being able to communicate between our severed selves than surviving the full challenge. Who knows? Death could be something interesting. But I had to break my way through the copper by hand, giving you the Wish.com version of everyone's favorite joke, heading down and picking up all of my gear off of the dripstone spikes. And honestly, that was the first time I've ever seen that in a trial chamber. Good design, Mojang. That's actually kind of fun. I made my way to the entrance room, and somehow this is classified as a desert trial chamber, opening up yet another vault, and, well, watch. Oh my, that's a trident. Finding my way into a room covered with powdered snow with a few skeletons freezing inside. I'm taking advantage of that crossbow that I had to just do pot shots and picking off everything, playing the corners, and jumping on the sliced geode to check out the dispensers. Lingering weakness pots can be crafted into weakness arrows, which would make villager curing a breeze. So I'm gonna want to hold on to these. They will be useful for either of us. There is even health pots in one of the other ones nearby, so my inventory is about a third potions right now, but all of them are super useful. I spent some time clearing out the final remaining spawners, picking up a couple keys to recoup my golden apple, and getting myself a diamond axe. Silk Touch is great. It might even be critical to the mission that I have no idea what that might even be. I won't have any clue until Brock completes days 10 through 19. But thinking about that, I realized I'm almost done. I looted one final vault and then ran back to the forward operating base, throwing a few supplies into the chest, reorganizing my inventory, and making sure to bring the tridents, the crossbows, and the useful gear. Swimming up the water, it was the middle of the night, so I just dashed along the icebergs. There was nowhere to sleep until I can make my way back home. And once the next day started, it's my last day. Well, not my last day, but the last day that I have until the first swap. So I spent some time organizing and stashing out everything, making an anvil and combining the pieces of gear that I already know are useful to combine, because I don't even know if Brock will find this base. You see, I'm not gonna log out here. I'm gonna try to make some sort of hint as far as what he needs to do. I made a couple item frames thinking I could put items inside, but that's not really gonna work for what I need to do. What I really need is string to make a fishing rod. So I jumped out of the house, looking around, seeing absolutely no spiders anywhere. Heading over towards the village, I thought maybe I can look around here, but no, there's just nothing. I saw a little bit of copper in one of the mountaintops and grabbed everything I could from there, thinking if nothing else, I can make a telescope. But on the way back, I saw a school of salmon and I thought, fish, maybe this can get the message across. I returned back to the crash ship base, smelted up all of the copper, crafted up a telescope, and then thought, let's be smart about this. Bringing my bed with me, a chest, and one of the pottery sherds, just enough that it might send a message. But the sun was already starting to get low in the sky. Fish, look at, and kill. I don't know if this works. This might work. It also might not. It might send him on a completely wild goose chase. I'm not gonna know until he sends it back. Can I do something? Yes. Let's light it up. Hopefully that gets the point across. All right, buddy. Bish, look at and kill. Your turn.
Okay, it's day 10. I have a raw salmon, a spyglass, and a pottery shard. Interesting. What is that? What? These mean something, and somebody is trying to communicate with me. Directly in front of me was an incomplete ruined portal, perhaps suggesting that I have to do something in the nether. For now, though, I just had to get my bearings, so I set off exploring into the frozen wasteland ahead of me. I am so ultra confused, it's actually crazy. Right away, I noticed a shipwreck that, much to my disappointment, was already looted, so I continued traversing the floating icebergs, heading towards some actual land in the distance. Whoever was here so graciously left me no food, so I immediately started killing some animals and smelting a few pieces of meat just to kind of keep my hunger in check. I kept on exploring, making my way into a massive cave opening to grab just a little bit of iron and some flint, before emerging and stumbling onto an igloo that unfortunately did not have a basement. Dang it, okay, that's a bad one. Thanks to my flint and steel, I grabbed some more food and set off ice boating towards an open grassy area in the distance. Honestly, it just kinda felt good to be out of the snow for at least a second. By now it was nightfall, so I killed some creepers before stumbling into a swamp biome. I took just a moment to search for any slimes that might have spawned. With the rain though, unfortunately there was like no way of knowing what moon phase I was in, so I ultimately found nothing. You see, before agreeing to this experience, I was given very specific instructions of a task that I need this other person to complete, but the catch is that I can only communicate to them via in-game clues. And a slime ball, well, that's probably gonna come in handy later. I killed more creepers before continuing across the frozen ocean. You see, not only am I completely lost, but I don't even remember where I loaded into the world. I did find a second shipwreck that was unlooted, so I managed to get my hands on some iron, which was very, very needed. I killed even more creepers, by now realizing that I could actually land 2 axe crits and kill them before they explode, just as long as I was quick with it. And even better yet, the snow had finally come to a stop. With my newfound vision, I almost immediately noticed a shipwreck tucked into an iceberg. Hey, what is this? That looked a little more home-like than it should. And sure enough, somebody had set up camp here, so I decided I might as well do the same. Oh, look at this. Oh, I found our base, you guys. I'm taking all this with me. I explored a little bit more of the surrounding area, and before long bumped back into the place where I loaded into the world. Oh, okay, we're back. And I kept thinking of those 3 items: a salmon, a spyglass, and a pottery shard. What do they mean, man? Why is there a bed here? Is he just being nice? Or am I supposed to go blow up the nether and get netherite? I am gonna take matters into my own melon hands. On the morning of day 11, I kept on exploring the world, and before long noticed a village on the horizon. Before heading there though, I took a deep dive in the ocean to grab some more raw salmon, just with the idea that maybe I'm supposed to use this to tame a cat. If you can't tell, I was completely grasping at straws here. Weirdly enough, this village was catless, it seemed. Okay, am I tripping? Why are there no cats in this village? So I stole some potatoes and made my way back to base. Completely lost on what I'm supposed to do, I decided to spend my time planting clues of my own into this world. You see, the other day I received instruction that over the next 100 days, I have to somehow get my companion to complete subspace bubble, which requires you to travel 7,000 blocks in the overworld via the nether. But the catch is they have to do it with a pink sheep at their side. Now, without being able to verbally communicate or leave signs, I have to get a little bit more creative. Step 1 involves simply letting them know they need to have a pink sheep, so I began digging out a large staircase in the back of our base that will hopefully lead them along to the clue. Speaking of clue, the first actual clue will come in the form of a painting. So after venturing out to shear some sheep, noticing a lava pool, picking a fight with a polar bear that I definitely thought was a sheep, oh that was dumb, and crafting the paintings, I started installing a very specific 1x1 painting of this red poppy. I'm hoping that this will communicate the red dye part of getting the pink sheep, but who knows. It's not exactly subtle. You guys think that he'll get the vibe that he needs to do something with red dye? At the bottom of the staircase, I installed the classic hollow painting trick into a secret room, which I hoped would be obvious enough. Inside here would be clue number 2, but before doing that, I wanted to actually decorate the place, kind of ominously in fact, and I thought that crying obsidian would be a great block to use. So I set back off towards that lava pool I just found, killing some animals for more food along the way, before making a portal into the nether. I spawned into a crimson forest, which is not a very safe place to be, but after just a little bit of exploring, I noticed exactly what I was after, a bastion. If I played my cards right and didn't die a terrible death, this would have all the crying obsidian I would need. I also noticed that it was a bridge bastion, so after dealing with a couple of pesky brutes, I grabbed the lodestone from this chest because it's the only chest that has it in the game. And thanks to a ghast, my plans of tactically looting the bastion came to a screeching halt, so I just got out my bow and disposed of everything in sight. Inside the chest, I managed to find a bunch of golden carrots, an armor trim, even a pig step disc, but unfortunately no crying obsidian. Luckily, there was a much better way to get crying obsidian from these structures, so I made my way to the real prize and mined the gold chalice. Thanks to my somewhat limited but also kind of real speedrunning knowledge, I was able to corral a few piglins into a trading hole, and before long I had my hands on 16 crying obby, as well as a bunch of other useful items like ender pearls and fire res potions, a bunch of good stuff. Also, on the way home, I did use that spyglass I was given to look at a ghast in the event that was relevant, probably not, and also mined up a bunch of quartz to get a little bit more XP. I made it back to base on the morning of day 14 and started decorating the secret room with just a mix of blackstone and what little crying obby I had. Inside this room, I planned to have a map which would send whoever I'm working with on an adventure to find another clue. With no redstone for a compass yet to my name, I set off in search of a cave to find some. On the way down, I stumbled onto a pretty cool looking skeleton spawner, which I was actually pretty excited about. Hey guys, how are we doing? What an interesting find. Oh, this could be an XP farm, actually. Or not. I also found a spider spawner with golden apples and another music disc before getting mauled by some babies. That's a weird sentence, mauled by some babies. I found a bunch of diamonds, tried MLGing with a lava bucket for science. It failed. And eventually found some redstone before heading back home. I really wanted the map to be pretty large, so after expanding its scale a few times in the cartography table, I set off to fill in the entire area. Honestly, as much as this was helpful for whoever I'm working with, it was also kind of a reason for me to go out and see the world and understand what is actually around me. Along the way, I stumbled onto some unfamiliar to me, but definitely man-made landmarks that were kind of oddly comforting, but also very weird considering I don't know who did this. And before long, I found a small island sitting on the opposite corner of the map to our base, and I knew this would be a great place to plant my next clue. This one being an actual live sheep. Luckily for me, there was one nearby, and after putting that sucker in a boat and digging a small hole for it, I filled back in the terrain to make it look natural, minus a single trapdoor, which I hoped would be obvious enough to see. Inside the sheep hole, yes, I'm calling it the sheep hole, I placed some wooden slabs in the shape of a composter, as well as gathered a stack of kelp. The idea I had is that they would craft a composter and then use this kelp to get bone meal, and then use that bone meal to get white dye. That, with the red dye, would hopefully lead them to the pink dye. Basically, if they managed to get a pink sheep from all of this, then I did my job. I also took a moment to grab some rose bushes from a nearby island and planted those on the surface as well, just as a further indicator of the red dye they're gonna need. And by the end of day 15, I was back at base and had finally filled in the outside edges of the map. It's pretty big, honestly. Midway through day 16, the entire map was filled in. Now I just had to test it. I also adopted a dog on the way home and gave him a pretty precarious name, which also does serve as a clue, although I don't think it'll be very helpful. Yeah. Bubbly. I think that works. Doesn't really give much away, but it's kind of, you know, alluding to what we need to be doing. I was thinking of a classic like red X marks the spot. So after grabbing some netherrack and making my way back to the sheep hole, I began working on that. What I failed to realize, however, was that a map of this size needs an 8x8 area of blocks to have anything show up even as a single pixel. So I needed a new way to get my companion over here. On day 17, I scrapped the map idea completely and decided to just instead plant a long trail of rose bushes leading them to the sheep. I was a little bummed about this, not gonna lie, but that way I could simply replace the map in the secret room with a rose bush, which I think was an obvious enough clue. Is that too obvious? I don't know. But we're gonna do it. On day 18, I grabbed those salmon that I fished from the ocean earlier and set off in search of yet another village. Before long, I ran into a plains village pretty far into the distance, and luckily, I managed to find a cat here. Like I said, I have no idea if this is actually relevant to what I'm supposed to be doing, but honestly, it was just nice to not be totally alone. Also, look at how cute this thing is. It's so freaking cute, dude. On the way home, I grabbed some pumpkins, completely missing a naturally spawning pink sheep on the hill. I guess I thought it was a pig, I don't know. And then proceeded to spend that night making some base improvements, mostly in the form of a proper sugarcane farm. I'm hoping that we get an elytra soon because honestly, it's gonna make traveling and quite frankly, doing anything in this video so much easier. I had a feeling that there wasn't much time before I would be evicted from the world, so I began digging out a place for an enchanting table on day 19. Unfortunately, I only had enough leather for a few bookshelves, but hopefully my other half can fill this in a little bit more whenever they take over. Even though I don't know anything about them, I like to imagine that we're working together in this weird simulation. I added a nice staircase up to the enchanting area and did a little bit of decorating before crafting a full set of diamond armor. By now I could definitely tell that my first shift in this really weird and confusing Minecraft world was coming to an end, so I just put everything away in a barrel and proceeded to simply watch the sunset. I have no idea what's going to happen over the course of these 100 days, but for now I was just relieved to be getting a break from all of this chaos. To give my companion a fighting chance, I made sure to align myself in front of the newly installed staircase and then proceeded to log off on the morning of day 20.
Okay. Oh. All right, so we've been to the Nether. Huh. Okay. Flowers. Okay. Okay, what else has happened? Oh, there's something up here. Enchanting setup. Okay. Crops are good. Oh, I should put shaders on. Wait. 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 Well, we're going on an adventure. Okay. Where is this taking me? What's been done? I don't know. How far did he go? Did I go? Me. I help. I kelp. You help? You help. I'm beginning to think this is payback for my clue not being super obvious. So I must help. Nothing else here? I have to help the sheep. But why roses? Okay, here's what we can do. I need wheat. I need wheat. We'll come back. Oh, this hurts my brain. Let's go check the portal. Did he take the portal? Oh, I don't think he did. Okay, 7-Eleven. All right, so let's break it down. The things I know I have to do is I need to either help or kelp or kill this sheep. I'm not sure exactly what. I don't know if the roses are important or if the sheep being white is important. So those are all things I'm going to have to check off. I also don't know if it's this specific sheep or if it's just sheep kind in general. Show has a big thing about goats, so maybe? I don't know. All I know is even as I go into the next day, I'm still confused. Oh, this is gonna be harder than I thought. Bubbly and a cat. More treasure maps. I think I know the immediate objectives. Hold on, there's lava pools over here. And Brock's been learning how to speedrun. I see it. So after a day and a half of being confused, it's time to try to figure out what's going on. I popped over towards the nether just to see what was around the entry point into this dimension. And it being a crimson forest is nice. That's why I didn't go. It would have been a basalt delta. But I returned back to the overworld, iceboated my way back over towards the ship, and started working on continuing whatever it was Brock had started. First putting down a bunch more sugarcane so we could start making more paper for more of the enchanting space, and then heading off into warmer climates and warmer terrain to try to kill a whole bunch of cows to get leather. This would allow me to craft up a whole bunch more books. It would finish the enchanting. It would make us more safe, but I had wasted half the day, so I'm doing most of this at night, constantly being harrowed by mobs. I did find my way towards a cherry blossom grove, which could actually help pink petals become pink dye, and combining that with sheep, I think that's another note for the conspiracy board. A lot of people in the Minecraft community know I'm obsessed with them. They're rare, they're special, they're pink. My kids love them. That might be what I have to do. So I grabbed a whole stack of pink petals, thinking maybe I could use these for communication or dye or something along those lines, grabbing a bunch of cherry wood and cherry blossom logs as well, fighting mobs throughout the entire night, just trying to keep myself alive. And while you're thinking, oh, that sword's enchanted, that must make it really easy, that iron sword just has mending on it, so I am seriously fighting for my life right now. And to top it all off, it started pouring rain. I headed into the nearby village just as the day was starting to transition over, grabbing a bunch of bookcases from in here, which I could get thanks to that silk touch axe. There was a bunch of sheep over here that I thought maybe I need to bring these back home, but it is far too far just to rely on wheat pathfinding, so I'm gonna have to come back with leads. I grabbed any sugarcane I found on the way back home, trying my hardest to lead a couple sheep with wheat, but losing them whenever I got to the water, then finding a couple more sheep that were right on the border into the more frozen terrain that we live in, and trying to lead those over. It was a mixed success. It didn't exactly work, which led me to start thinking about different options. I also need to start thinking about how to communicate my goal back over to my other self. And the snow layers that were forming thanks to the snow that was falling gave me a really good idea. With a shovel on board, I can get snowballs, hearing a witch down in the ravine here while I was digging, and using the crossbow to eliminate that threat. Leading the sheep over, having to do it very slowly, but eventually getting them within spitting distance of the house. The only problem is I don't have any wood to actually make a pen for them, and the tree refuses to grow with the snow layers around it, so I had to clear that all out, finally getting a big enough tree to make enough spruce wood to make enough of a fence to trap 2 sheep inside, and starting to breed them so we can have more. I planted enough sugarcane to complete the single water channel, crafting up the rest into paper so that I can start making more bookcases. Had a quick nap so I didn't have to worry about phantoms, and the following day focused on building out the enchanting setup, getting it about half done. I headed out to take care of a few mobs that were just camping out around the area, lighting up the spot inside of the farm plot that I had made for myself, going back into the ship to do a few things, and then the glitches started to happen again, this time in the real world.
I'm going to record this. Yep, there it goes. My PC just crashed. Uh-oh?
That rollback caused my inventory to roll back, but the world did not, meaning that, well, I'm going to take advantage of this. I could complete the enchanting setup without having to craft up any additional bookcases. Grabbed a whole bunch of steak with even more of it sitting in the furnace, and I'm eating well. I took care of all of the crops. I made a small barrel and a grindstone, so that way you could get enchants off of gear if you happen to get something that's not super effective, and then went through the time of getting all of my gear at least partially enchanted. Most of my armor at this point has at least protection 2. For what we're doing, that's pretty good, and I think I can just roll with that. I went back over towards the sheep pen to breed those sheep up so I could have a lot more, saving off a piece of pink wool, red wool, and an axe. If I do nothing else, that is a question, at the very least, that goes towards Brock, but I'm gonna have to do something bigger to match the energy of the random rose quest that he had sent me on. So filing that off in the to-do list. I spent a lot of time chopping wood just to get basic supplies sorted, but then it's time for me to work on my messaging, grabbing all of those snow blocks and building out an 8x8x8 cube of snow with a water channel up into it and some small little dangly bits on the bottom to start building the shape of a ghast. I don't get the point across, but I don't think I'm going to be winning for my pickler skills anytime soon. The only problem I have right now is that collecting snow is somewhat tedious when you have to run around and you're constantly breaking the ground underneath it. So I thought, let's make a very basic rudimentary snow farm. Making a small platform with a snow golem trapped on a slab with the pumpkin sheared off so they could be stuck inside of iron bars, and I can just stand in one place and farm hundreds of snowballs pretty quickly. This gave me what I needed to work on the ghast, and I figured let's put some of that white wool into play as well, just to give it the tiniest bit of texturing so it looks like I actually tried for this thing. But there's two things I want to do now. I want to get level 30 enchant on my pickaxe so we can have a diamond pick that could last the rest of this adventure, and I need more levels to do that. But also, I want to help progress the game. Brock had gone to the Nether, so I figure I should do that as well. There was no indication of having found a fortress, so I'm keeping my eye out as I'm running from quartz patch to quartz patch, just using that to gather a whole bunch of experience for myself, continuing to progress through the Nether somewhat randomly, but in a pretty stable eastern direction. I don't know if there's something over here, but I have a feeling that if I just go in a straight line for long enough, eventually I'll find somewhere I need to go. I'm bridging over lava pools, trying to snipe skeletons that are on the other side of somewhat dangerous gaps, fully breaking my pickaxe, running out of blocks, having to bridge with the quartz blocks that I had just collected for myself, and then on the other side, using soul soil, which doesn't slow you down, as a really cheap to collect, really easy, non-flammable bridging block, which is kind of perfect. Once on the other side, there was a bit of blackstone, which I was able to mine up to upgrade myself back up to a stone pick at least, heading up into the Nether fortress proper, and immediately finding 2 potion brewing rooms. This is going to allow me to get a whole bunch of nether wart, and fighting off any wither skeletons here is allowing me to stay alive, finding and looting several different chests along the way, picking up gold, iron, diamonds, and some rib armor trims. So it'll be very clear where I got this, even if it might not be exactly what I was asked to do. But potions is only 50% of what I'm here for. I figure if I'm coming to the Nether and I found a fortress, I should just commit and be the one to get all the blaze rods we need to potentially find a stronghold and beat the game. I don't know if that's a part of our task, but I do know having things like the end city loot, elytras, rockets, that extra mobility could be huge to our overall success and survivability. So I spent the time just fighting blaze after blaze right here, getting kind of bad rates on the overall drops, but after a good portion of the day, getting 10 blaze rods and thinking I should call it there. On my way out, there were a few wither skeletons, and my only thought was, imagine how funny it would be if I got a wither skull. I mean, that would be a really easy way to communicate kill. So I definitely tried, struck out, unfortunately, grabbing 1 extra blaze rod and then doubling back along my path, making it all the way back over towards the portal. And I gotta say, the fact that I'm not alone in this world made this next discovery less hurtful. There's a fortress right here. There's a fortress right here, and I didn't even realize it. Are you kidding me? I went all that way for nothing. But I eventually found my way back towards the Nether portal, returning back to the overworld, running back and ice boating back because I'm starting to run out of time. We're about to switch again, and I don't think I've gotten everything I need to get done to set us up for success. I made a new diamond pickaxe heading up into the enchanting area, getting efficiency 3 on it, which is a huge upgrade. Efficiency cannot be understated just how good it is. And I figured let's just be very overt about what I'm doing here, planting down a whole bunch of soul sand and planting all of the nether wart I had collected, making a small barrel and a platform, crafting up a brewing stand right here so that we could potentially make potions that are useful. I got more wheat, bred more sheep, because I think this is potentially my mission, seeing far too many zombies collecting outside of the house and going in for a quick nap. And the following day, it's time for me to put that efficiency pickaxe to use. I think something that will help communicate a lot that this ghast needs to be here in the overworld, other than, well, you know, a ghast being here in the overworld, is a whole bunch of obsidian that really you'd only need if you're transporting something bigger than yourself. So I spent some time breaking down a ton of obsidian with the pickaxe, getting 42 of it, the meaning of life. Maybe that number would feel significant, maybe it would feel relevant, but it did take me almost all of the day. I put the obsidian and a fishing rod into a chest inside of the ghast, spent some time getting more snow blocks and wool blocks just so I could complete the very top of the ghast and get it fully sealed in. Heading inside, I lit up the interior so it wouldn't accidentally turn into a mob farm, and then thought I need leads if I'm going to be transporting mobs in mass, or I need to take a sheep somewhere instead of just making a whole bunch of sheep. So I headed over towards the swamp. It's not the biggest, it's actually really tiny, with a lot of spawnable space outside of the swamp biome, but I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, if I clear out enough mobs, maybe a slime can spawn. I wasted half the night just running around in circles right there, fighting a bunch of spiders, a bunch of creepers, a bunch of skeletons, but not seeing a single gelatinous cube. Disappointed and a little frustrated, I needed to move sheep a different way. So I used a fishing rod, putting myself up on a pole, just trying to lure a single sheep out of the pen without releasing all of them, and then settle for making a little small sub pen inside of the big square and trapping a sheep inside. Having to break the fishing rod, I needed more than one option though, so I had to make a second little mini pen, pushing another sheep, well, trying to push another sheep into that square.
No, get in the box.
But the sun had risen at this point as I was trying to set up the choice for Brock to make. I built a very vague question mark, backwards at first, right behind the space, putting in the third option a single piece of mutton that I went and collected. But with the sheep being right here at spawn, or at least at base, I figured there's a better use for that lodestone compass, or running over and placing it down right next to the pole that indicates this is the entrance to the trial chambers. That's a good source of XP, armor, equipment, nothing to do with his core mission, but something I want him to know about. But I left the lodestone compass and an ominous bottle, paced back and forth trying to figure out roses, red, poppies, pink, maybe? And turned my attention back to just gathering as much wheat as I possibly could, looking over and over at both the sheep that I had placed down as well as the ghast that I had made, and trying to figure out, is this the right way to even present the question? So I figured it needed a bit more space, taking a little bit of wheat and luring my two beautifully colored sheep over into small pens on the other side of the lake, far enough away that I can set up a little bit more of a grander presentation, and it might actually help reflect the gravity of the question that I have. This allowed me to build out a question mark a little bit bigger on the ground, which would require actually coming over here to see, and it plays with perspective a little bit, maybe just enough that I'd be able to get away with putting this in place to have communication between the two of us. Just to make sure that he sees it, I put down a bunch of deep slate with lanterns on top, lighting up the question mark itself, as well as the three options, or at least the three options that I had even considered. It's possible I'm fully off base here. I'm going to return back to having this whole thing destroyed, every sheep dead. I don't know, but I'm making more sheep along the way, and on the final day before this transition, I made a break for it. The few blocks of wheat that I'm making for myself on any given day is not enough. And this was a little risky if I couldn't make this trip quick enough, just round trip both ways, but I headed over towards one of the more temperate villages just to collect all of their hay bales. Getting myself enough wheat to make an army of sheep if that's what my objective actually is, and I want to have that on hand if I've been told to do so. I'm watching the sun very carefully as we're approaching the latter half of the day. Movement, travel is still really slow. It's a big investment in the little bit of time each of us have, which is why we're probably both playing so small. I'm actually going to be so upset if somehow Brock is just like cooking it and has covered millions of blocks, but I have no clue. I placed down all of the wheat around the sheep to show that we have resources here. Noticed that somehow the snow golem had disappeared themselves. Not 100% sure why, but I don't need more snow right away. Harvested a whole bunch of sugarcane and then thought to myself, wait, I can make harming potions. So I could ask, should I heal or harm the sheep? Maybe that is a much more direct line of communication. The only problem was I couldn't find brown mushrooms despite looting through all of the chests, so I couldn't make a fermented spider eye and I couldn't invert the potion. But thinking of potions, thought, wait, I can do something else that would be really helpful here. Smelting up just a few pieces of glass, grabbing a few pieces of different supplies, a single piece of nether wart, a magma cream, and then a redstone to make fire resistance potions so that Brock could feel safer in the nether and deal with the fire from a gas explosion if he happened to take one on. Hopefully when he managed to take one on. While that all brewed up, I just went through doing some simple Minecrafter chores, chopping down trees, using some of those logs to improve the rather scant decorations around the base. This is more function than form, but I still want it to look good. And as the sun began to set, looked out over my clues and my questions just to make sure I had everything figured out. Okay, a couple different things. I really hope he notices that. I really hope he notices that. I really hope this doesn't derail him too much. Let's see if this will do it.
In what I can only describe felt like an instant, I logged back on 10 days later to find a pretty normal looking inventory, minus a piercing crossbow, which I did find pretty interesting. Perhaps my other half is trying to tell me that I need to go for the arbalistic advancement by killing 5 unique mobs with a single crossbow shot. Upstairs, I'd happily noticed that the enchanting table was complete, which will make our life much easier going forward. It's nice to know that despite the intense confusion, we are definitely at least working as a team here, at least a little bit. Things got even weirder when I headed outside to run into a gigantic floating gas structure, as well as an ominous bottle and a lodestone compass. Maybe those were directing me to a trial chamber. Oh my gosh, okay, I feel like there's like stuff to explore here. Let's just take today and see what's going on. What is up in here? Is there anything specific in here? Oh, whoa, oh my gosh, there's a chest. Obsidian and a fishing rod. Okay, clearly we need to bring this boy to the overworld. I think we have to do our ballistic. I think we have to do that with a gas, which is very terrifying to think about. I don't like that. I see we have some more base expansions. We expanded the sugarcane farm. Okay, we have sheep. Oh, okay. Maybe he got the hint about the sheep. What the heck is this? Oh, snow golem. I'll worry about that later. For now, though, I noticed some isolated sheep in the distance, so I went to investigate. Oh, I think he's asking, is it a pink sheep or a red sheep? We're gonna give him his answer. Bye. You're dead. I'll come visit you later. I have a plan for you. Fully aware of just how annoying it is to bring a gas to the overworld, I immediately got to work building a fresh portal inside of the gas head and heading off to the nether. Crimson forests are not great for gas spawning, but luckily for us, we are not far from a soul sand valley, which is like the prime real estate for gas spawning. Okay, I'm making an executive decision. I'm gonna beat the game. It just needs to happen, I think. If I have to do our ballistic with a ghast, I need an elytra. That's just a fact. It just needs to happen. Using a little bit of speedrunner technology with the in-game pie chart. Okay, it's 11 chunks away, the fortress. I was able to locate a blaze spawner not too far from spawn, and after searching around for a bit, I stumbled my way into the fortress. Oh, I found it. Okay, we're here. I made sure to get more blaze rods than the 6 that you actually need, just to account for eyes breaking. And speaking of eyes, I knew we had ender pearls somewhere, so I headed home to search for them. Oh, here they are. Okay. He already got the blaze rods. I'm so silly. Makes sense though, considering my other half has already started a netherwart farm. I should have realized that. Either way though, I went back to the nether to kill a few stray endermen for their pearls, and sheared a bunch of sheep for exploding beds, before making my eyes of ender and heading out to the stronghold. All right, we're off. Let's go find the stronghold. I also couldn't help but notice the lingering potion of healing in my inventory. Honestly, I don't know what this would be used for, but just in case I was supposed to make these, I stopped on the way to the stronghold to smelt some glass bottles, which I could use to get dragon's breath during the end fight. Before long, I found my way into the stronghold. I think it's this chunk. Let's go, we're in, baby. And almost instantly ran into the portal room, which was really good. Oh, I found it. That was easy. All right, as I suspected, we are one ender pearl short. I did not get lucky. It's okay, we can still find the ender pearl in these chests though. So I spent the remainder of day 32 searching the entire stronghold far and wide, trying to find a singular pearl inside of all of the various loot chests. I can't find an ender pearl. Let's just go find ender pearls a different way. I began heading back home through the nether, trying to see if endermen would spawn along the way. I just need one singular enderman. Please. And after having no luck, I ended up finding one back in the overworld near spawn that night. Come here, buddy. Please be my savior. Let's go. Despite a little bit of time loss here, I was still making pretty good pace to get my hands on an elytra pretty quickly here. So I wasted no time heading back to the stronghold and entering the end. It's already perching. I have to wait. I need dragon's breath. It's going again. No, I gotta wait. I gotta wait. I need dragon's breath. That's what I said I need. I'm gonna get it. Please shoot at me. There we go. Now you can do that thing that you did 2 times already that I didn't want you to do. There we go. Okay, phase 1 is complete. We've beat the game. Now we gotta go find an elytra. Using the gunpowder and paper that I brought with me, I crafted as many rockets as possible and set off into the outer end. All right, we are here. Oh, there's a ship. There's a ship right here. Let's go. Oh my gosh, luck is on our side. Luck is on our side, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go, dude. Slowly, I worked my way through the city from the bottom up, killing shulkers along the way. Boom, there's a shulker box too. And before long, I made my way over to the ship. Oh, that was closer than I wanted it to be. With my hands on the elytra wings, I took a moment to be greedy and fly around in the event that I could actually find a second elytra or some more good loot. I did manage to find a very small end city that had an efficiency 4 pickaxe, but nothing else really beyond that, and I didn't really feel like testing my luck. So I flew back to the end gateway and made my way to the main end island. And before heading home, I made sure to grab the dragon egg just as a small flex. That side quest of getting an elytra took 4 in-game days, which I think was totally worth it considering how much it's going to help with everything going forward. I wasn't out of the woods quite yet though, because durability was still a major concern with the wings, and after a very annoying 1,000 block trek home via foot, I set off on day 35 to the nearby village to bother some librarians into giving me a mending book trade. At least your buddy's in the hole with you, that's nice, you're not alone. Mending, oh my gosh, we just got it. Let's go. Immediately, I put those levels from the dragon fight to good use and started rolling book trades looking for a looting sword. Looting 2, I will take. The only way this elytra is worth a damn is if we have access to a lot of rockets. And this looting 2 sharp 3 sword that I managed to get was a perfect mid-game creeper slayer. I also combined pickaxes to get efficiency 5, which probably isn't necessary, but it's nice to have either way. Now it was back to Operation Ghast Collection. So I gathered a bunch of obsidian from a nearby lava pool, as well as made a minecart and a bunch of rails. That evening, I also noticed a few slimes finally spawning in the swamp. Ooh, slimes, we have slimes. Okay, this is good, this is what I wanted. Which meant that I could make a few leads, which would really come in handy for something later. How did this get here? Did this just spawn? Oh wow, that's actually really funny if it did. Unable to procrastinate any longer, I set off to the nether and immediately noticed a ghast in a pretty level spot of terrain. So in a panic, I set up another portal and lit it, hoping that I could get this to work really quickly. I know their hitbox is pretty big, so on the overworld side, I expanded the portal to be much larger, and then got to work building a large holding cell to enclose them once they come through. All right, let's try and get a gas to the overworld. I don't know how this is gonna go. No! New plan, new plan, new plan. Ghasts will spawn much more frequently here, so in theory it would be easier to fish one into the minecart and then just push it on this railway over to the nether. I spent pretty much the entirety of day 36 trying to get a ghast to spawn close to this minecart track, and even when they did, getting them hooked on the fishing rod and then into position was proving nearly impossible. Unfortunately, there was just way too much open space for them to fly around and make my life a living hell. It's just not gonna work. I need a better plan. It turns out that completing this part of the challenge was going to be much more complex than I had initially hoped. So for now, I got to work building an enclosed box around the minecart. I know that getting a ghast to spawn inside of this actual box is pretty much impossible, but the idea was that I would at least use this as a way to communicate to my other half what I'm trying to do. I just need a way to tell him that I'm trying to get a ghast to the overworld. I need him to know that I think I know what he wants me to do. Okay, this arrow tells him to go this way. Now I only have like 2 days left to give him clues. I gotta give him clues still too for what I need him to do. I also can't help but think I should probably spawn in this snow golem too. My other self did a really great job getting the pink sheep from last time, so I pretty much just plan to build off of that. So what I think I want him to do, because I need him to do subspace bubble, but I think it'd be cool if he starts at 0, or wherever the heck spawn is. I'm gonna put this chest right here. Actually, I'll give him a shulker even. I want to give him a lead, a boat, and then lastly a compass. I want to break all of the beds. It should point him to spawn. After heading back to spawn and building a portal, I set up a pen with fences inside of the nether. I want him, the next time I log on, I want the pink sheep to be right here. And I think that's all we're gonna give him for now. I want to spoon feed him, slowly spoon feed him directions to keep us on track. I also sheared that wild pink sheep for some carpets and then used them as another indicator that they need to bring the pink sheep here. The rest of that night was simply spent collecting a bunch of gunpowder so I could give them a bunch of rockets for their next task. Oh, I got a disc. Yo, what the heck? That's cool. Like, I think that's relatively easy what I'm asking him to do, which is good because that means he'll have more time to tell me what to do because I am confused, bro. I am a confused melon man. With only one more day left before losing the world yet again, I took the opportunity to add more base expansions. At this point, all of our storage was limited to 2 very messy double chests, which was really bothering me. So I began digging out a small basement that would serve as at least a somewhat organized storage room. Most of that day was just spent moving items back and forth, which was really boring, but still felt very necessary to kind of declutter my mind a little bit. All right, I think lastly, we're going to take off the elytra and we're going to put on the chest plate, but you'll see we have the elytra and I'll put all the rockets in here too. All right, I'll see you guys in 10.
Okay, well, this answers my question. Pink sheep. Something about pink sheep. That's a shulker box. This is a shulker box. This is an elytra. Compass, boat. Okay. I think this is not a lodestone compass. Okay. I am beginning to have an idea. I have to take the sheep somewhere. All right, let's look around here. Did this get acquired? This is promising. This is really promising. Arrow. Wait. I think he did it. 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 It worked. Oh, that's really, I think he might have pulled it off. Now the question is, did he get both advancements? Oh, I don't know, but that's so exciting. So now it's all on me. Okay, let's head back home. So the question is, where do I need to take the sheep? I have an idea, but it is potentially silly. Lead it into a boat and then fly. I think I need to take a sheep to the end. I think I need to take a sheep to the end. Oh my, I think I know what my objective is. With my other self's task potentially done? I'm not sure, but mine at least I think I have a good idea of what I need to do, I took a look at the base and saw what else had been worked on. And it looks like a small storage room had been carved out with the intent of keeping all of our loot organized. I figured I should help here, starting to move a bunch of things down into the chests in the basement and labeling them. Going through into the next morning, and having to spend a good portion of time getting everything categorized, placed away, and put just so, when I noticed that there were 2 maps in my inventory here that I didn't make. Before going off to actually figure out what those were, I excavated it down the top of one of the nearby ice spires, grabbing a little bit of stone to mark out the base of what I'm going to want to build a tower on, because I want this place to look good even after we complete both of our tasks. But it was time to figure out exactly where that map led. This map leads to this map. This map is where I'm thinking. I need to go south. I upgraded the bed to a blue one, so it just looked a little bit more stylish, and the following morning flew out, realizing that that was the train nearby where I had found the sheep before. And what I thought might have been turned into an X was just the very early starts of that netherrack platform. Okay, here's the part that confuses me. Why the 2 squares? Take a sheep to all 3 dimensions? Why the nether square? Why cobblestone? Why put this here at all? Why bury the sheep here at all? Maps were just maps. But are they? Why spawn? With the first map maybe just being the first way that my other self indicated for me to head over here and instead defaulted to the long line of roses, that was a bust. I took a look at the second map, seeing a single red dot on it and thinking that might be useful to go check out, but it turns out at the zoom level, that was just a ruined nether portal. This is also not an enchanted elytra, even though it says it is? Oh, it's not. Okay, that's a problem that I'm gonna have to do something about, and I think I know what to do. That's gonna require going and making a friend. Now, pause for a second here, because you're probably looking at the screen saying, of course it's enchanted, it says so right there. Look, this is not a scenario where it doesn't look like anything to me. Reroll the footage of when I first opened that shulker. The enchant was hidden, and I guess I just mentally blocked it out after seeing it the first time, expecting to see multiple rows of enchantments. So yes, it has mending on it. I don't realize that for about 5 days. But yeah, I'm not completely going crazy, at least not because of this. I'm not going crazy because of this. So thinking that that was unenchanted, my brain went to, how can I enchant it as quickly as possible? So I grew a tree, collected a whole bunch of logs, made myself a lectern and a fletching table, and the next morning, it was time to fly out towards one of the nearby villages. I went to one of the warmer ones just to give myself a bit of a break from the cold, throwing down the lectern and then using my villager reroll mod so that I don't have to constantly break blocks. Here is a very artsy cinematic montage as I'm just trying to get the one book that I need. I eventually locked in mending for 30 emeralds, a bit on the expensive side, but like I thought in the moment, extremely useful and critical to my overall success. Stay. With the trade I needed locked in, now I needed to earn some money. And I might be severed, but they don't pay me for that. So I went over and made a Fletcher, re-rolling to get a stick trade, which gave me 24 of the emeralds that I need. So I'm gonna need to go get more supplies. I chopped a whole bunch more logs, got a bunch more emerald trades running around, and then realizing, oh wait, this is enchanted. Oh, it does have mending. Wait, how does it? Did it not show me the enchants on it? Okay, that's weird. So let's get on breaking then, I guess. Suddenly being really glad that my mending trade was far too expensive, I started working on locking in an Unbreaking 3 trade, going through the same trade cycling process with a second villager that I kind of just trapped in a corner. I got one for 44, which is rough, but it is what I need. So I traded for one bookcase just to lock the trade in, and then flew off to a nearby spruce area where it'd be a lot easier to chop down trees, having to just go vertically instead of worrying about all the branches in an oak forest. I had some of the local fauna try to help me break down trees, and flew back over towards the village, crafting up all the sticks I need, but unfortunately, my villager friend here ran out of stock before I had all of the funds required. So I planted a few saplings, took a quick nap, and engaged in some negotiations. Come on, restock. Work. Refresh. I can find another villager. Oh no, they went away. Wait, so this is where Brock... Okay. My other me is not communicating well. Having found where I or he or we had stashed away a few villagers and had found the previous mending trade for more expensive than what I found, I might add. I spent a little bit of time just chopping whatever trees I could find around the area to get all of the sticks needed to trade for a single Unbreaking 3 book, flying my way back towards home. Throwing that on the elytra as well, getting that fully enchanted, resetting my spawn point here to the base as I had slept in the village and I didn't want to respawn there, dropping off a bunch of supplies into the storage room, and using some of the leftover sticks to craft up more item frames so I could label the remainder of the chests. With that done, I crafted myself up 3 Eyes of Ender, my thought being the stronghold's already been found. All I need to do is go the right direction, hoping I could find it. So I went out, got the sheep in a boat, threw 1 eye to give myself a very rough heading, and then took advantage of one of the best features of 1.21, leads on boats. All right, this might be stupid. Ow. Okay, this might be way harder than I thought. It's working. It's not working. Okay, it's still a very good feature. It's just way harder to use than you would think. But before I committed to this potentially really long journey, I wanted to make sure that their part of the job was done. I scoured through the chests here in the base, trying to find some items that could serve as a rudimentary yes/no indicator. I also needed a couple of supplies from the Nether, flying over and around there, killing a few ghasts just to get a few ghast tears that I can use that as an indicator, trying to build out of a chest some kind of confirmation box with no words in it. We're inventing language here, people. It's the only way that we're going to be able to bypass the code detectors. Getting back towards home and then starting to craft things up. I made a gold sword to represent kill. I'm using emeralds and redstone to represent a yes/no checkmark. And I have a few ghast tears to be like, kill the ghast, bring the ghast, look at the ghast. I want a bit more moss as it's going to be very visually interesting. So I just put down a whole bunch of dirt, made a whole bunch of moss, and then flew over to kind of take a page out of my own book here, grabbing some 2 tall flowers, going with the pink variant, as I'm definitely the pink version of myself, if the other me is more roses. I did accidentally use one of my Eyes of Ender, having that just lost in the iceberg now forever, bone mealing a whole bunch of the peonies, getting them planted along the way, trying to set up a pretty decent path, having to torch a few of them just to make sure that they're going to be visible, as I'm covering a really far distance in really mountainous and really hard to traverse terrain. Granted, we can fly now, it'll be easier to do, but I don't want either of us getting lost. It took the whole day to make my way back over towards the area where I had potentially completed my objective, setting up a simple binary choice for all 3 stages. Maybe this will be a good indicator of like, step 1, overworld. Step 2, look at ghast. Step 3, kill ghast. Yes or no? Maybe this will be enough. It's like, I trust that he did it, but I need to confirm for a fact that he did it. There's going to be no way to confuse whether or not I did mine. Well, there might be ways to confuse it, but I really hope not. My goal is to just be in the end with the sheep in front of me standing right there. That will be the ultimate check. So I put down just a few more peonies, took a quick nap, and it's time to fly this sheep in the daytime. I attached the lead onto the boat and started trying to fly. Finding the exact right angle that I could gain a lot of altitude without having the lead snap was actually pretty difficult. I'm not gonna lie, I was getting frustrated here. Because if you go too far to one side, it just snaps. If you go up too much, it snaps. You need to go up, but slowly, just barely enough that you can gain the altitude to actually start covering distance. Then you need to constantly fly up to just run this parabolic rate, dragging a bobbing, dangling sheep behind you. And I have to be careful here. I'm flying over forests where wolves can spawn naturally, and they're aggressive towards sheep. So if this thing dies, I have to start the whole process over again, and that sounds even more painful. I found a spot where there was a bit of an ice lake with an igloo right here, and I abandoned my mission briefly for a quick little detour, grabbing a potion, a golden apple, and some supplies. I then ice boated the sheep around a little bit because it was easier than flying, having to return to flying once we returned to the wooded terrain because, again, I am very nervous about a wolf eating them. I passed by a pillager tower right here, which is an interesting POI to have encountered, finding my way towards a massive ravine right here, throwing down an eye, thinking I had covered enough distance and realizing I had way overshot, the eye pointing back in the opposite direction, and also broke, leaving me with no eyes to speak of at all. Doubling back, checking out the pillager tower and getting a sharpness 5 book, which is a huge come up. My thought now is let's go down into the cave. Maybe there's some indication of where I dug down to find the stronghold. I found an enderman, so I got 1 pearl back, but I didn't have any blaze powder, so I couldn't craft more eyes. To do that, I had to return all the way back towards home, and I'm hoping with the sheep both unloaded and on top of a tree, it's potentially safe from wolves right now. I grabbed all of my gold, threw the sharpness book on the sword really quickly, and jumped into the portal to return over to the nether, trying to find a few piglins that I could barter with, and killing a few endermen that I'm finding stray in the Soul Sand Valley just to pick up a couple more pearls. I'm not having good luck bartering. After 1, maybe 2 trades, each one turns around and starts to try to stab me, but I eventually found and trapped an employee in a small little cubicle, and oh my god, I sound like Lumen. But once they were secured and the bartering was set to be done, I did a whole bunch of trading, getting mixed results. More gravel, thanks. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. I'm not getting anything. It's such a waste of time. Oh, they did give me pearls. Okay, fine. I feel a little bit bad about killing them now. Only a little. Feeling slightly worse about myself, I flew back towards the portal and returned to the overworld where I crafted up my eyes and took a nap. Okay, my other me must have been to the end. So the question is, how do I find the stronghold that I found? This says to go this way, which is the direction that the sheep is in. So let's go that way, but not go all the way, and see how far we have to go. Found it. Maybe? Okay, but he had been here. I had been here. God, this is confusing. So yeah, I had been in this direction. That's confirmed. I just need to find the place along this line that the stronghold exists at. And I didn't exactly leave any good markers for myself, which makes me start to question whether or not this is actually my objective. You would think I would make it super obvious, but I'm tunneled at this point. I'm committed. The sheep is here. I'm here. The stronghold's here. We just have to put them together. Eventually, the eyes started pointing down, and I found a small spot with netherrack on one of the trees that seemed to indicate maybe dig down right here. So I started excavating down, making my way into the stronghold proper. Navigation was less than ideal, spending a bit of time just bouncing around, having to dig through a wall to lead into the portal where it had been a bit of a false wall leading into the portal room, or a long way around. I think I took a shortcut. I checked out the nether portal here, marking it on my map so I could use it later, returning back to the stronghold and starting to excavate a 2x2 tunnel all the way up to the surface that I can use to bring the sheep in. I made a giant pillar of cobblestone so I'd be able to see where I was going, and then getting that sheep up and off the ground didn't work. In fact, it worked negatively, and I ended up down inside the ravine with the sheep still stuck in the boat, and I am molting right now. I want to actively throw myself into one of the walls. I am annoyed at Leeds right now. Eventually, through great effort, I finally made my way out of that cave and was flying over the woods again, landing on a tree nearby to my cobblestone pillar, parking the sheep here so I could do this during the daytime, sleeping in the village nearby, and heading out the following morning, remembering some slightly more obscure Minecraft mechanics. Oh, that's cool. That's right. Creepers give potion effects when they blow up. Oh, I'm glowing. That's a way to get glowing. That's actually kind of neat. It was like that when I got here. With the damage to the terrain done, I steered the sheep down into the cave, having to deal with a few mobs that were catching a ride inside the boat that I had made, and also accidentally pushing the sheep down a layer with water and having to break the lead and just do some shenanigans to get them back up to the correct level. With that, it's a long dive down a 2x2 hole, landing on top of all of the gravel that had fallen on top of my head in the process, getting the sheep into the end portal room. And I'm thinking, this feels really, really good here. I attached a lead onto the boat, made a small staircase to pull the sheep up the stairs, and it was gone. Just vanished. No indication of where. So I went after it. Where's my sheep? I checked in the walls, I checked on the surface, I checked everywhere around here. No sheep. I didn't even see a piece of mutton or pink wool or a broken boat floating anywhere. It's just not here. I went back to the overworld, spawning the village I had slept in, purling down the giant tube into the stronghold. Oh, wait. That is a potential glitch.
You see, I remember seeing a video by my friend Branzy,
where if a piston pushed somebody through the stronghold portal, but it pushed two people at the same time, it ended up at a different set of coordinates compared to if it just pushed one. I misremembered it in the moment, but I thought maybe because the boat and the sheep both went through simultaneously, they ended up at a different position. So I flew to those coordinates in the end, thinking maybe I could see something. And maybe right now on screen, there's a moment, a flash of a sheep blipping into existence and falling into the void. But I had no idea then. I'm going to have to go back and check the flashback footage. It's possible that my sheep was there for like a second before it fell into the void. I don't know how that portal works with passengers, but I think we have enough that I can ask definitively if I did it or not. But I did a couple loops through the end, breaking the bed that I had used in the village to reset my spawn to home a lot faster. And when I walked through the portal there, I was met with something unexpected. Wait! Is it just this simple? Is it just put a pink sheep in the nether? Was I horrifically overthinking this? I think I might have been horrifically overthinking this. I marked spawn on my map and flew towards home in a panic, running down, crafting up a spruce boat, and having a quick sleep so I can do this trip in the daytime. This is my last day before we transition again, and I have to move fast. I dyed one sheep, got them in a boat, and started moving. First trying to fly, realizing that the time that I would lose with false starts was not worth the time I could potentially gain by being in air, so we're gonna ice boat. I'm gonna be absolutely zooming my way through the glaciers and over water here, using a lead to pull up onto the ice whenever we fall into the liquid, trying to get to spawn as quickly as I can. I threw my sheep friend through the portal, having the lead disappear in the process, but eventually was able to secure them in the pen here in hell. Is this just it? Did I do it? I need a way for him to confirm to me. I have an idea. Same thing that I did for me. I flew via the nether to get back towards the portal that is close to the base, getting out of the ghast here, and then thinking I can use the same inventory-based binary choice system to build myself a confirmation dialogue for my task as well, dyeing a shulker box and then dyeing and trimming all of the sheep here to get a giant pile of pink wool, indicating with wool blocks and blocks from each dimension where I had placed each sheep. Yes and no. Yes and no. That's how I've communicated everything else. I just need more redstone and I don't have any. Okay, so overworld sheep. Yes. Nether sheep. Yes. End sheep. Answer. I don't know if the other me has done everything, but I think I figured out the best way to ask. Also, I'm so sorry I used up all the rockets. I did a lot of flying. What a tangent. Now we see if he's got it.
Surprise, surprise, it was now day 50, and I was immediately greeted with a nice tower of pink wool in a shulker box waiting for me. The contents, however, were already confusing me. So is he asking what dimension the pink sheep has to go to? I don't understand. I took a brief moment to check the nether in the event there was anything new for me there, and found nothing of note. I did see that my elytra had Unbreaking 3 now though, so at least my other half was looking out for me. Back in the overworld, I did see a trail of peonies, similar to the rose bushes that I had left from before, so I began following them. They seemed to lead up to this mountaintop and then just stop, so I cleared out an area below, digging all the way down to bedrock, just trying to search for something, anything of note in the area, but I couldn't find a single thing. Very weird. I also once again noticed that ominous bottle and the lodestone compass from before. I had completely forgot about those, so I grabbed the compass and began following it. Sure enough, it led me over to that large cobblestone pillar I had stumbled on before, and upon searching below, I found it not only leads into a cave, but actually a trial chamber. I thought back to day 10, my very first moment in the world where there was a pottery sherd in my inventory, and upon a little bit of research, that pottery sherd can only be obtained from a trial chamber. So I figured this place was at least somewhat significant. I was also fairly certain that my overarching task required me to do something with various different mobs, and the only unique mob here in the trial chambers, as far as I know, was a breeze. So I captured one in a boat for later use before continuing to search the place for clues. It had been a really long time since I looted one of these places, and it was quite hard to discern what was natural generation versus what was actually important for me to take note of. Like, I'm pretty sure that these didn't used to have hoppers in them. Slowly but surely, I made my way through the place with Trial Omen, collecting the ominous keys and looting the vaults as I could, getting my hands on a Windburst book as well as a couple of god apples. I also ran into a seemingly normal spiral staircase segment, nothing new for me, so I did my usual strat of jumping down the middle and water bucket clutching at the bottom. What? How did this get here? There's a dripstone trap? Who put this here, bro? Back home in a scramble, I made a few backup tools, grabbed some food and makeshift armor, and hustled back to the trial chamber. Luckily for me, finding my way back wasn't too bad, and before long I had all of my stuff back in my possession, but I couldn't help but think that this was a trap that was set up by my other self. Back home, I also noticed the shulker box with everything inside needed to zombify and cure a villager. I really wasn't sure if this is important or just kind of helpful to have. For now though, it was back to Operation Get a Gas to the Overworld, and I had an idea for a far more robust system to make that happen. I grabbed a few ender pearls and some ladders and set off to the nether because that's right baby, I was headed to the nether roof. After digging around in the ceiling for a bit, I found a piece of bedrock at Y level 127, built some ladders up, and pearled my way through. This, believe it or not, was a huge step forward. You see, mobs can't spawn on bedrock, so this platform that I was currently building would force all of the gas spawns to be directly on top of it. I also built a very large nether portal, hoping that it would link up to the one I built last time, but I had no luck. Back home, I spent most of day 52 collecting more iron since I had none to my name. That way I could make a proper railway transport system for the ghasts. The more that this process is automated, the better as far as I could see. And by day 53, I had a proper railway leading all the way from the spawn platform over to that newly linked nether portal portal with the ghast holding cell on the other side. On the overworld side, I also ran into this chest with even more clues inside. Honestly, these were proving more stressful than helpful. It seems like my other half has a brain that works a little bit differently than my own. Step 1, spruce wood. Step 2, look at ghast. Step 3, kill ghast? Like, what does this mean, man? I have no idea. Despite the confusion, I do think that pretty much confirmed that I had to do something with a ghast, so I got to work building an AFK spot above the spawning platform and waiting. There really isn't a good way to ensure a ghast will spawn here other than just waiting and getting lucky. By day 54, I was still waiting for a big white blob to appear, and to make things just a little more efficient, I added some ladders leading up to a slightly taller platform at world height. That way, whenever something spawned in that I didn't want, like an enderman or a skeleton, I could simply head up the ladders and then they would instantly despawn. After a little while of heading up and down the ladder, I finally had what I was looking for. The good news for me is that ghasts are completely harmless as long as they can't see me, so very carefully I installed some rails up next to it, placed down a minecart, and then got my fishing rod ready. From there, I just had to very quickly hook the ghast with the fishing rod, pull it towards me, and before long it was stuck inside of the minecart. The hard part was now done. All I had to do now was put down a furnace minecart, give it a little bit of fuel, and before long I had a ghast safe and sound in the overworld. I just had to figure out what the hell to do with it. That night, I had the idea to ask my companion a question. Okay, so assuming that I have to do arbalistic, which I think I do, I have the crossbow here pointing into the ghast and then a breeze. And if I'm on the right track, maybe they can fill in more of the blanks for me. I don't know. I'm kind of just hoping they'll be nice to me. All right, for now though, I guess I'll just head home and then go get the breezes brought over here. I just started a raid. Oh no. Okay, it's fine. I'm just gonna gaslight the villagers into telling them there's not a raid going on. Like most of my problems in life, I will solve this by simply avoiding. Back in the trial chamber, I made a new nether portal near the breezes and connected it directly to the nether ceiling. Moving these guys is a massive pain in the butt, but this made it so much more tolerable. The bad news is that my main nether portal now had a ghast waiting for me on the other side though, so I had to use the other portal instead. And after a full night of flying around like a lunatic with these breezes shooting at me, dude, I finally had them in position near the ghast area as well. On the morning of day 56, I flew home with only 3 measly rockets and 3 pork chops to my name, so I farmed some flint to make a few flint and steels and set off to collect some free-range pork. Taking these moments to restock us on the necessities is really important, that way we can stay focused on our main tasks at hand. I also grabbed some obsidian while I was out because, let's face it, I have been building a lot of nether portals, and before long, night was upon me. After an entire night of slaying creepers and slaughtering hogs, I had 49 pork chops and over 2 stacks of rockets by the morning of day 57. Okay, so I'm running out of time again before I get kicked off the world, so I should probably check the status of Operation Pink Sheep in the Nether. If my clues from last time were effective, there should be a pink sheep here. And yes, okay, awesome. Dude, they are doing so good. Now, if I actually get them to move this guy 7,000 blocks, I really need them to know that they've succeeded for this whole thing to work. And I like the idea of building a kind of pink sheep sanctuary really far from home, something that would not naturally spawn, basically. So I took off from spawn on an adventure out 7,000 blocks away until I found the perfect location. Okay, so we're definitely far enough from home. So now I'm gonna start making a sheep pen, collecting as many of these bad boys as I can, and dyeing them all pink. If they manage to get the sheep over here, it should be really obvious that it needs to go in this pen. From there, I installed another portal, made the 900 block journey back to spawn via the nether, and then proceeded to plant a trail of pink carpets connecting from the single sheep all the way over to the sanctuary. I didn't want it to be too obvious though, so I made sure to space the carpets out pretty far from one another. Honestly, I wasn't even sure if they would notice this pathway, but quite frankly, they were doing really good on time, so I felt like I could challenge them just a little bit. I also feel like having them stumble onto a pre-lit nether portal is a little bit too obvious and kind of weird, but I have an idea. So firstly, if I replace the obsidian with blackstone, it kind of gives the essence of a portal without there actually being a portal here, and then I can take the actual obby they need for the portal and scatter it around this relative area, sort of like a scavenger hunt. That way, once they find it all, they can actually build the portal themselves. I noticed that my armor had taken quite the beating from trial chamber looting earlier, so I decided to spend all of day 59 underwater cave spelunking for as many many diamonds as my melon hands could find. This is great because large diamond veins spawn in areas exposed to no air, of which underwater just so happens to be. The not great part was that without a Respiration 3 helmet, I had to almost be constantly placing down a door or frantically searching for a magma block just to breathe for a second. Also, this happened. Yeah, that would have sucked, huh? Overall, I managed to get 23 diamonds from this caving escapade, which was more than enough to replenish the diamond armor that I had lost earlier. By now, I also noticed that those peonies from before did actually continue on further, so I followed them along, and I was starting to get kinda worried. I was basically 60% done with this weird, wacky, simulated Minecraft experience, and I couldn't help but wonder just how many clues I had misinterpreted or even straight up missed at this point. Was I even on the right track? Is there any way I would actually finish this in time? What am I even supposed to be doing in the first place? Luckily for me though, the peonies just led me back to the ghast area. So I logged off on day 60 with more questions than ever, but feeling just a little bit hopeful.
Okay. There's a ghast here. Oh, oh no. I sent him on such a wild goose chase, I think. Okay, hold on. Oh, he didn't answer. I don't think it's done. Look at... Okay. Look at ghast, kill ghast. Okay. Question mark. Okay. Wait, go this way. Okay, one thing at a time. Like, look at ghast, kill ghast. You've done it. That's all you need to do. We should adjust this. Ow! Cool it! Look at ghast, kill ghast. Look at ghast, kill ghast. That's all you need to do. You've done it, buddy. You've done it. Now, what is this? Yo, okay, this looks super cool. This is some really cool terrain. It's also brand new. I gotta make a note of this. We'll come back to that at some point. Oh my goodness, that looks so cool. Not knowing what that northbound arrow was pointing towards, I'll admit, I floundered for a little bit. I was checking out any random hole, furnace, small piece of terrain that looked even remotely disturbed, but nothing led to anything that gave me a clear indication on my task. Perhaps I'm missing something obvious. Perhaps it's a tangent to repay me for the tangent that I sent myself on. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out later. Okay, here's all I know. For sure, I have this. Question mark about that. That's done. Look at ghast, kill ghast. Look at ghast, kill ghast. That's all that needs to be done. This is a success. I don't know what that arrow's about. I'm going back home. Hello. Home. Hi, Bubbly. But now finally back at home, I just did a little bit of chores around the base, breaking down sugarcane, making paper, making rockets because we had not refreshed our supply, checking the shulker box and seeing that, yes, something had changed. Ink sheep, no wool. Okay, let's go check the site. Flying back towards my marker and through the portal, the sheep was there waiting for me. Okay, so there's no like, you did it? No indication of like, you did it. Nothing? Nothing? I'm not gonna lie, I expected some sort of fanfare, some sort of confirmation, something telling me, yes, my task was complete. Without it, I'm actually kind of worried that I might have missed something. So I bored my way through the walls in the nether to make my way back towards the stronghold portal. And breaking through the lava, I saw something I wasn't expecting to find. The sheep I meant to bring clipped into the nether instead? It clipped into the nether portal instead? Oh my goodness. I don't think I need to put it here. Oh, this hurts. I don't know. Okay. Let's go back and check where the sheep is. Is there anything here? Nothing has changed. Maybe I mean, he took the pink wool away from this. So maybe I have to put one at coordinates in the overworld. With no indication of whether or not I had completed my task, aside from a single block of pink wool being removed from the shulker box, I don't know if I'm right. I'm questioning everything that I've done to this point. And I'm not gonna lie, I started grasping at straws, thinking maybe the dirt blocks tell me something. Maybe the 7 and 11 in the very first chest tells me something. Maybe, just maybe, there's something hidden underneath the ice. Maybe if I head over towards the trial chamber, I can find more information. And all I found was a fight. And once the fighting was over, I found something else. Oh no, I think I led him down a rabbit hole. Oh, okay. So it turns out I had accessed the nether roof in order to transport that ghast to this location. Smart, very smart about not having to worry about overworld portals. But it did lead me right back to where I started, where I once again started tunneling on those breezes, on that arrow, on what could possibly be north of that location. I found an igloo, no basement. I found the crashed ship. There was treasure inside, but nothing really useful. The nether portal right there, maybe it's pointing towards that, once again telling me to do something in the nether. But I'm not sure. I went back through the portal that the ghast was in, ending up in a portal in the actual nether proper and flying my way back towards the portal at home. Well, somewhat close to home, but just one rocket away. So I was able to do so pretty quickly. And I thought, let's just try a simple solution right now. I released 2 sheep from the pen, and that was unfortunately 1 sheep too many. Sorry, only room for 1. I'm not gonna lie, that felt very wrong to do. But I'm grabbing my pink friend right here, taking them on a little ice boat cruise to just make my way towards world spawn. Even my friend here seemed really excited, nodding along the way as I made my way to spawn, having to clear out a few mobs and flying over to some nearby trees just to chop enough wood to be able to make a small pen for my friend right here. I cleared out all of the mobs and monsters around the area, built a small cage for a very special sheep, and lured them out of the boat, carrying them up and over the hill and into the pen. Now I have a sheep at spawn in 2 dimensions. Maybe that's what I need to do. The lack of confirmation is killing me, but I really don't have another option. And another thing I don't have right now is rockets. I have used all of them, so I had to run over to a nearby plains field just somewhere close to spawn, running around killing creepers and skeletons throughout the evening. That gave me the gunpowder that I needed, but unfortunately it did not give me paper. So I'm sailing my way through the glaciers and icebergs of the frozen tundra. I found a very small survival island that had about 8 pieces of sugarcane total, which allowed me to make just enough rockets to be able to fly my way back towards home, ending up back where I started with just over 10 rockets to my name. But without direction from my other self, without confirmation that I've done everything, and sheep on the spawn of 2 dimensions, I'm gonna focus here on the base. I don't have a clear thing to do, so I'm instead gonna focus on fashion game. It's the end game after all. Starting to work on construction of a small tower right here on one of the nearby ice pillars, building up a small little pier to be able to land on with an elytra, flying over to where all the rockets are to collect a whole bunch of spruce and grabbing whatever supplies, decorative blocks, and accents I can from the rather sparse materials we had collected, being very utilitarian with everything that we've done, considering this was a much more objective-based adventure until right now when I'm not told what my objective is. I don't take that as a real problem against my other self, more so the fact of I'm not sure and I'm kind of wandering at the moment. But But I built into the night, where I'm scoping around just trying to see what I can find, seeing quite a few creepers in the distance, trying to kill more for gunpowder, but regularly having these creepers just blow up in my face. But doing that through most of the night got me up to the point of having basically a stack worth of rockets, killing a few more creepers as it started to snow and it was dark way later into the evening, finally working into day the best console of all time. And I started this day using those rockets, immediately flying over to some nearby woods to just chop trees. I need some other materials and accents for the base tower that I'm building, so I needed to go get those supplies. I tried some different ways of setting up the ladder to the upper floor of the tower, just relying with the ladder on trapdoors, eventually adding some small deep slate accents to around the corners, and then setting up a bit of a basket top to build a small watchtower to look out over the space that we had made for ourselves. Some fences around the edges, some signs with no texts. Don't worry, I know you're watching. I'm not writing anything down. It's fine. And while it's not done, it's at least roughly installed. I tried doing some cheeky things about using wind charges and offhand cobblestone to be able to get myself a little bit more altitude. My blowout is showing at the moment, but I did eventually just pillar up to put some small supports and fences in place, grabbing all of my extra signs to decorate around the campfires and other small spaces. I want to convert a lot of this into lanterns to be able to have better lighting, but I don't have the coal to do that. Combining a few pairs of pants, as we had a broken enchanted one and a fully repaired unenchanted one, so now we're a little bit more protected. I flew out late in the night to fight my way through creepers to get myself a whole bunch more gunpowder, taking advantage of the opportunity of being in a cave to just mine up a ton of coal. I did run out of paper at one point and tried to use wind charges as a really bootleg way to help myself fly, and there's a reason that this doesn't work. So I just spent one of my precious few rockets to return home, banked all of the supplies that I had gotten from all of the mobs, and crafted up a whole bunch of torches and lanterns, being able to now properly light up the tower. I did that in the start of the morning, crafting up a bunch more rockets, and then once again flying out to go and collect wood. The frozen space that we're in isn't really good for lumbering, so I'm just doing my best here. Getting a whole bunch of accents, primarily fences, signs, some trapdoors, and other things to make the whole place feel a little bit more constructed instead of just plopped down out of nowhere. I did some small detail work in the enchanting area, went and harvested all of the crops, replanting all of them, cooking up a whole half stack of baked potatoes, and then making myself a new diamond pickaxe. Seeing what I could get for enchanting that, there were some good options over at level 30, but I'm not 100% sure how to get there. The main thing I'd want at that point is Silk Touch. It'd be useful for getting materials. It could potentially be useful in general construction and living, but as always, once the evening rolled around, it was once again time to start hunting creepers out in an open field. Don't have time to build a farm. We're gonna just have to make do how we can. The only problem was there was a ton of mobs, and the danger flat flaps had spawned, and I was not in the mood to put up with that, calling it a night early. On day 66, at this point, I have gone through a 5-day distraction. I've built a cool little tower. I really need to know if I've done my job. The first thing I did was dismantle the existing pink wool pile, as I don't think this is sufficient for communicating everything, building out 3 platforms, one of cobblestone, one of netherrack, and one of endstone. I leaded 3 pink sheep, putting 1 on each platform, securing all of them with the fence posts underneath so that the sheep are just standing in place in each of the 3 dimensions. I put down the shulker box, a question mark, just trying to figure out what I need to do. And then I went to go make sure that that was actually honest. First attempting to lead the sheep ship through the portal, then remembering, oh wait, I could just steer the boat myself. Once through the portal, I built a little bit of a bridge and then used a lead to try to pull the sheep up the stairs, seeing that it gravitated towards the nether portal, so that's where it disappeared to last time, getting it through the end portal and celebrating. Okay, I now have a pink sheep in all 3 worlds at each world's spawn coordinates. I think I'm done. I think I've done it. Is there anything else I can do that's super useful, that makes sense, that's productive? Could go in busting. Having potentially completely cleared my task, or at least what I understand it to be, let's have a little music murder experience. Once back home, it was time to go through the spoils, combining a few pieces of gear on the anvil to be able to get better enchantments, make ourselves better protected and safer, and putting down the shulker box with my loot from end busting right here, easy to find and easy to put on display. Unfortunately, the sword that I had found was too expensive, requiring 30 levels to combine with the one that we're already using, so I just placed it in an item frame on the anvil, going to sleep. Okay, I feel bad for sending Brock on a bit of a wild goose chase. The trial chamber was at least, hopefully, entertaining. I feel like this is a good ask, though. This is showing, hey, I went end busting, I got stuff. This is done. Cheap in every dimension. Probably even overkill from what I have to do. I want to go triple check the message I left. Look at Ghast, kill Ghast. Look at Ghast, kill Ghast. This should be easy. I think. This. What is this? Okay, yes, third time's a charm. I'm getting distracted by the arrow again and just trying to figure out what this could possibly be pointing towards. Maybe, just maybe it was the breezes and the breezes had somehow pushed themselves out of line, but that didn't stop me from digging underneath the ice, looking underneath the snow, flying around in circles, looking down a giant shaft that led to an almost certain death in lava. I can't wait to see what I meant by this arrow, because this arrow bothers me so much. But I just triple checked my message, thinking I've made it as simple as I possibly can, leaving a giant question mark in front of that arrow in case I'm missing something horrific. Don't worry, there's nothing here. Nothing for the code detectors to trip. Just randomly building things. Completely random. And then just started flying home, finding a single portal right here in the middle of the ice lake that led to the portal on the roof where the Ghast had been captured from, which is a very quick flight back to the portal in the trial chamber where I got into a little bit of a fight with a breeze just to get a few more breeze rods and a few more arrows, getting myself a trial key. The vault had a couple emeralds, which is fine, but an upgraded crossbow, allowing me to combine with my existing one and upgrade our kit a little bit. I swam up the water, almost drowned, flew my way back towards home, taking the stone bricks that I had smelted up and putting them into the tower just so it's not fully solid cobblestone. I combined the crossbows, crossing my fingers that this wouldn't lead myself down a completely new tangent, and that any focus on Arbalest was gone. With day 60 ice now here, I bred up all of the sheep to add as many as I could, eliminated the ones who were not properly wearing the company uniform, but spared the children and instead just helped them get changed. Look, I'm not trying to get canceled here. I flew out to go and gather materials, mainly focusing on coal as it seems to be the thing that we have the least of back at our base, getting well over a stack to be able to just have everything we need for the rest of this adventure. Smelting should not be something we're thinking about in the last 20 days here. It should just be handled. With that done, I headed downstairs, made a smithing table, and a small upgrade to our outfit. And with all of that said and done, it was time to switch. All right. No time like the present. Take it away, my friends. Tell me if I did everything right.
I was thrown back in the world on the evening of day 69, a little earlier than I expected, but with how much I have to do still, I was not about to complain about having more time on my hands. Directly in front of me were 3 pink sheep on different platforms, presumably representing each of the 3 dimensions. Okay, so it looks like my other self wants a little bit of clarification as for which sheep they need. I can happily give them that answer. There was also a shulker full of some pretty good end city loot. It seems as though they were pretty busy in the last 10 days. I also noticed this beautiful looking observation tower on top of a nearby iceberg. Wait, no, this is so cool. They built this. There's got to be something inside here, right? Okay, just a chest. That's odd. Right away, I took off following the trail of peonies back to the ghast area. I left them a bunch of unanswered questions that I was hoping for more clarification on. Okay, so it looks like the breezes are nowhere to be seen, which is good. That's a good thing, because honestly, I did not enjoy working with those guys. The gas is still here though, so I was right about that, it seems. The item frame setup that I had built for them was replaced with a far simpler set of instructions. Spyglass, gas tier, sword, gas tier. Okay, so I think this is saying, like, I need to kill a ghast through a ghast, or a ghast needs to kill a ghast? I don't know. Before I could really think about this, though, I had to first get more food, except this time I set off to the Crimson Forest to kill hoglins, since the overworld pork population was running pretty scarce. I wonder why. Okay, so they built that lookout tower, and there's also a spyglass that's, like, somehow important. Maybe I need to look at a ghast from inside that tower. Honestly, it wasn't much, but I thought perhaps that getting a ghast inside of the actual structure here in the overworld would bring me more on the right track. So on day 71, I got straight to work breaking down and relinking the portal inside of the ghast structure to connect it directly to the nether roof. This was going to make transport a million times easier. Unfortunately though, I ran out of rails while connecting a long line over to the spawning platform, so I had to take a pit stop into the caves to get more iron. With how much time I've been spending mining by hand, it really would have been faster just to build a basic iron farm earlier on in this challenge, but it's really too late for that now. I just gotta keep pushing. While I was waiting for all of that newly collected iron to smelt that evening, I flew around slaughtering as many creepers as I possibly could. I was starting to get really stressed about how little time was left, so I was really just trying to stay busy. By day 72, the iron was smelted, so I got to work finishing installing the long rail line. My current plan was just to move the guy that I already had back into the nether and then transport him to the new spot at our base. Before working on that though, I once again had to make another food pit stop, and it appears as if I have stumbled onto a pork buffet. Oh my gosh, I really cannot think of a faster way to get a half stack of pork. That took like 2 seconds. Back in gas territory, I got to work trying to move this guy back through the nether portal. I honestly really did think that this would be a super easy task. After all, it wasn't hard getting him here in the first place, but it turns out that with such a confined space, getting the rails installed so he could actually move was nearly impossible. I literally spent the entire evening of day 72 trying to move this bozo with a fishing rod, furnace minecarts, before eventually getting so frustrated that I took matters into my own hands and tried to push that bozo through the portal myself. Wait, did that just work? Oh, there's the gunpowder. On day 73, I cut my losses and reconnected the railway up to the actual spawning platform. I really don't have the words to describe the sheer pain that ensued over the course of days 73 and 74 while trying to collect a new ghast. So instead, I'll just show you. Oh my god, that was so quick. We got one already. Holy frick. Nope. Oh, I'm hitting him. I was just getting caught on. Dude, what is this guy doing? Oh, he got out? No, you can't be out. Okay, 3rd time's the charm. They're just getting out the back, bro. I'm being a dingus, dude. This is dingus behavior right here. Fishing rod, attach, go behind here, pull, again, pull. No. Is he in? No, he's not. Dang it, bro. I don't know what to do. Oh, why did I get in the thing? Why did I get in there? Oh my gosh, I almost just died. There, he's in the thing, I think. Holy dude. All right, send him off. Send him off. Wait, what? No, why? Dude, I'm gonna lose my mind. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. By day 75, I had to just take a break. 1, for my sanity, and 2, more importantly, because I had to still make sure I took time to check on the status of my other half's task. The next time that I hand the world over to them will be the very last chance they have to complete Subspace Bubble, or else we fail. So I really need to make sure there are no cracks in my plan. Unfortunately, the pink sheep in the nether was still just chilling in his pen, so I needed a more robust way to communicate with them. So I flew home and sheared all of our pink sheep for a bunch more carpets. My plan plan was pretty simple. Spam a crap ton more pink carpets and make it very obvious where he needs to move the pink sheep to. If the original pathway that I made last time was a little subtle tap on the shoulder of, hey buddy, move this way, this was basically me slapping him across the face and showing him exactly what I need him to do. I also added a very non-subtle arrow pointing into the fake Blackstone portal and scattered some more carpets around the stray pieces of obsidian. Okay, look, it might be a little bit overkill, but I really just need him to succeed. He is so close. And assuming he does actually succeed and bring the sheep here, I now just need a way for him to tell me that he's done. Congratulations, you have completed the task. Please hang a sacrificial lamb in the air suspended at least 20 blocks back at base to let your partner know that you are finished. The sheep thank you. Also, look, in hindsight, maybe signs were cheating, but I wasn't thinking of that at the time, so I'm sorry. I killed even more hoglins on the way home. Honestly, I kind of feel like I'm squeezing all of the life out of this world before handing it off to my partner, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, so the good news is that I feel like he is really set up good to finish his task. The bad news is that I still have to get this ghast moved to here. So it's back to the nether. Day 76, we're back waiting for ghast to spawn. This is my life now. This is what I do. This is my full-time job. Okay, we got one. Surely this is the one. You know what they say, 7th time is the charm. He's moving along, bro. Bro is cooking. He's actually cooking. I think he's gonna be good. Yep. No. It's gonna work, dude. Yes, we got him! We freaking got him, dude! Feeling complete relief at finally having this ghast in what I think is the appropriate spot, I spent the rest of that evening collecting even more gunpowder, as well as getting a bunch of sand to smelt down into glass. Now that I had the ghast inside of the ghast, I really didn't see much need for this statue to be there anymore, so I spent the entirety of day 77 going through and replacing the build with glass. Alright, I've officially replaced a ghast with a ghast. Now, I don't know what this did. I don't know why I just did that, but I think it's on the right track. On day 78, I started building another ghast holding cell just on the other side of the nether portal. Okay, so based on the item frame clue that he left for me, there's still a strong part of me that thinks I need to kill 2 ghasts with the 1 arrow. Also, let's face it, the dude in the overworld could die at literally any moment, so it definitely won't hurt to have another one in place and like ready to go. Luckily, all of those failed attempts from earlier were a pretty great learning experience, so getting this guy in place was really quite simple. There was just a few things I wanted clarification on for now. Okay, so first question for whoever I'm talking to is it crossbow killing a ghast through the portal killing another ghast? Or is it simply a ghast fireballing another ghast? It's one of the two, I think. I think it's the first one, but I'm hoping we can get answers. I'm gonna also look at this spyglass from the tower, and we're gonna put the spyglass right in the center, so they know that I think I see what they're trying to tell me to do, I think. On day 79, I took a few minutes to get us completely dripped out in fresh armor trims. Let's do some gold pants. Some red boots? Sure, do some red boots. Yo, we look so freaking cool. Look at us, dude. Doesn't do anything, but it kind of boosts the morale a bit, you know? Honestly, I feel pretty good about what we did the last 10 days. Assuming I'm on the right track, which I think I am, it's very possible to actually complete this. Like, I think we might do this, bro. The last few minutes of that day were spent getting as much pork and gunpowder as I could possibly get my hands on. I think I've slaughtered every pig in a 1,000-block radius. Oh, I found one. Hang on. I found another one. Oh, wait, no, you're a child. Okay, well, you're just an orphan. Minus the orphans, I've killed all the pigs. That's pretty sad. Even though I don't actually know my other half, I really am taking pride in trying to set them up with plenty of food and rockets whenever I hand the world back off to them. It just feels like being a good human, and I don't know, I need that right now. All right, whoever's out there, I wish you the best of luck, and go ahead and bring that sheep to the sacred area, why don't you? Just follow the compass. I'll see you guys in 10 days.
Okay. Compass. Ghast, fire, ghast. Kill ghast. Ghast. Nether. I mean, I think I can make a really educated guess what that means. This, I don't know. Let's follow this compass. It's just pointing me to spawn. I'm here, Okay, wool, pink here. Lead a pink sheep. What the? Oh, it keeps going. Oh my goodness, it keeps going. What do we have to do? Why does this feel way more complicated? What? Even? You're another portal. Oh no, I think I know what I need to do. I think I've been looking at this all wrong. I need to head back, and I think I have grossly misunderestimated the complexity of my task.
Because I don't think I need to put a sheep at spawn. I think spawn is just where I start. My new idea on where my task is completing the subspace bubble advancement with a pink sheep. I have less than 10 days to do it, and I need to travel over 6,000 blocks in the overworld. Granted, I only need to do that in the nether, but it's still the nether.
Maybe that's why I didn't get any confirmation. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I wasn't told that I did it right. Because I haven't. Because I didn't. You're here. Oh boy, I have a feeling this is gonna be a lot. Ghast fireball, a ghast. Oh, this is the question. Do I have a ghast fireball itself? Or kill a ghast in both dimensions at this? Wow, okay. I think he's overcomplicated this. I've overcomplicated this. I want to go look at where the ghast was too. Okay, I think he just set up shop here. And this is now just in the overworld. I have a feeling I'm going to need obsidian, so I'm just going to grab all of this. It's not that. We don't need to do this in the nether. Give me my crossbow back. I just thought of something very funny that I can do. The following morning, I was looking through the inventory, just trying to find the spyglass that I had left behind, noticing that the sword had been enchanted, just unfortunately the wrong way around, so we lost sharpness. There's also no iron in the chests, so that's a problem to deal with at a later date, but I'm instead focusing on getting my point across for the objective here, making a whole bunch of roses and dyeing all of the sheep, trying to find iron to make shears, having to grab the existing pair of shears that I had, and starting to build out some guide markers between a giant red X on the ground and several, dare I say it, clickbait level red arrows pointing at the ghast directly where it is. This gets the message across. That'll do, I think. I don't think it can be much more obvious than that. We're gonna add more, because of course we are. Of course we're gonna add more. I kept shearing sheet into a little bit later in the night, heading out to go hunt creepers for gunpowder, realizing I had only one arrow to my name. So I'm relying on piercing to be poor man's infinity, having to go and recover the arrow, but without sharpness on the sword, it is a little riskier taking out each of these creepers, meaning it takes a few extra hits, which means I'm more at risk for all of these strays and other mobs to come in and really give me trouble. So I went home, had a quick little nap, and then thought about combining pickaxes, so I would have enough to do a bunch of mining, seeing that I needed 10 levels for that. Going out, getting more wheat, breeding more sheep, getting myself just up to 10 levels, but then thinking, wait, I could have 2 good pickaxes, making a new blank one and combining that with the efficiency 5 one, and then keeping the efficiency 4 one in my shulker box. After that, it was time to head back to spawn and to the nether and to start preparing. This is going to be a lot easier if I actually put the effort in to set up the path ahead of time. Instead of trying to build it just in time as I'm moving the sheep, setting up different bridges and catwalks and walkways, leveling off terrain, securing areas, building tunnels through pillars of netherrack, all of this with the hope of being able to move this sheep easier. I'm really only going to have time for one chance, maybe two, as I have a backup sheep in the overworld. But if both of them die, there's no way I'll get this done in time. When I got to the nether fortress, I even thought about taking a slightly more dangerous route, but a much faster one to be able to build, relying on the bridges of the fortress itself to allow me to cover a lot of the ground across this lava lake, taking out whatever wither skeletons are here, securing off different pathways, and figuring out that I'm actually pretty close to where I need to be. But this was the easy part. I mean, this is freaking awful. Why? Why this? So my first thought was to dig a tunnel down from the basalt delta area, heading and hovering over, covering a small gap and realizing I could dig my way back up into the netherrack on the far side of the nether fortress. Then I started attempting to secure the actual pathway itself, blocking off any lava blocks, mining up any magma, getting to the soul sand valley and playing a quick game of tennis. Nice parry. Realizing that I was about where I needed to be and there were only two major gaps to cover. So, continuing to secure the area in the basalt delta, I have a path that I can easily walk a sheep through, clearing out any magma cubes here, extinguishing any fires that they might incidentally run into, and setting up very small, very reliable pathways over wherever the ground gave out. This was a day and a half of work, but it's gonna save me a mountain of trouble. Realizing I had forgotten one leg of the journey, I built a quick little staircase connecting from the top of the nether fortress over to the area where the tunnel connected in, allowing me to complete the path, but it is going to require some rather risky doubling back and switchbacking from the nether fortress, to which I just dropped the blocks off and stored those for later. Okay, I think there's a path. It's not a particularly safe path, but it works. Checking back in that my sheep was still safe at spawn, I flew my way back home as it was now day 84, and I'm halfway through my final block at being in control. That means I need to keep working on building out the signs needed for my other half to do his job, and some people tried to not be a part of that. Look away, kids. Building out more of the arrows, just really hamming it up and selling this to say, this is what you need to do. This is where you need to do it. This is so stupid looking, but in the best possible way. This is great. With that done, I wanted to craft up final supplies. My thought was leading my other self towards that mountain I had seen on my last turn in the driver's seat, the severed cliff top of it being a perfect place for us to have a finale. So I put down the supplies needed to complete the task, flew north, going up to the mountain, putting down campfires and chairs on both sides so we can sit and look each other in the eye when this was all said and done. Then I buried a chest underneath one of the stairs, thinking that you can click on a chest with a map to put a red X on it, like you see in buried treasure maps. I swear this is a thing. I'm not sure why it didn't work, and I'm not willing to go look it up and figure out that somehow I'm imagining a Minecraft feature. But I'm hoping that the map will be enough. There's no way to fully confirm this until the very end, but that mountain would be a wonderful finale, and I hope I find myself there when we're done. But I just now need a place to put it. I headed into the storage room, crafting up a golden carrot, which, when combined with a little bit of water and a fermented spider eye, which I can make by flying over to the swamp to get a singular brown mushroom, I can craft up some invisibility potions. My thought was this would make the ghast in the box not be able to see me, so that I could put the map down here safely. Unfortunately, it didn't really work that way, and that potion did basically nothing. But thankfully, the bright side, the map was in place. So when I woke up the following morning, I moved the other items from the chest on the X to item frames on top of the enclosure for the ghast, and I feel like this is done.
Maybe the crossbow was given the wrong image. Maybe that's just what it is. Hopefully that works. Hopefully that's enough. I don't know if I'm gonna make it back. That should get the point across. And again, I think I've been lost and confused on my own task for far too long as well. So, we'll see.
And with everything at home complete and in place, the only thing left for me to do was fly back towards spawn, throw that sheep in a boat, and start my journey.
Here we go.
I did it!
Congratulations, you have completed your task. Please hang a sacrificial lamb in the air suspended at least 20 blocks back at your pace to let your partner know that you finished the sheep. Thank you. I did it. Come on in. I did it! It's actually like warm. Like it's a warm biome. Maybe this is how you get away from Lumen. You just move somewhere warm. That feels so good. Now we just need to let my other half know that the task is complete.
With my mission complete, confirmed complete, mind you, I headed home. I need to work on the confirmation from my other self, which involved leading a sheep and starting to pillar up, trying to be very careful that they didn't accidentally go kersplat on the column that I was working from.
This feels wrong.
Hanging and dangling the sheep from a single fence post, I broke as much of the pillar as quickly as I could, pointed an arrow upward so that it would be impossible to miss where it had gone, and then thought about leaving a similar confirmation. The original idea was no written communication, nothing, not even confirmation of the task being complete. But with a precedent set by my other self and the first task done, I thought it would make sense to do the same. Taking another invisibility potion, heading back up into the gas chamber, and try to put a sign inside the ghast, but only having it basically explode the whole place pretty badly. I gave it another shot, it didn't work, and at this point I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to risk blowing up the whole cage and having the ghast escape, so I flew back towards the split island, putting down some signs right here on the mountaintop. This would be my other self's confirmation, as long as he made it here.
If he comes here, I know I'm still invisible. If he comes here, I know I did it.
That's so weird. This trim looks like my eyes, because that's where my eyes would be. Once I was flying home, I realized that the map had broken, so I had to replace the map in the item frame inside the glass box, but now it was also super dangerous with all of the glass that had been broken from my several attempts to close it, so I had to seal the box back up as well. And after that calamity of errors, I woke up on my final day. That was essentially tedious, but I think we're okay. Our target is done. Our objective is verifiably complete. And all I need to do is look at this thing with the spyglass and then kill it. That's all I need to do. And we need to do it right here in the overworld, hence the big red X. So that doesn't feel like a lot. So it feels like for this very last transition, I make it a little more interesting. So just this once, just one time, I want one of us to log in a bit of a panic, in a bit of danger. So I flew back towards the trial chamber, diving underwater, swimming down to its subterranean depths, and running as far into the structure as I could allow. I have so much confidence in my other self. I want him to start with a bit of a challenge. Enjoy the fight, me. I'll see you on the other side. And that's it. If you want to see that Brock completed the task I had set for him, link to his video is on screen right now. This was an amazing adventure. Once again, thank you to Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus for sponsoring this video. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves, be good to each other. Goodbye.
What? Why am I in a thing? What does this have to do with anything that's important? I'm so confused. I don't even have any ominous bottles to drink. Okay, so I spawned in right here. Okay, so what is out of the ordinary? This is all just normal stuff. Anything below here? No, it's just a way out. Do I see anything of note? Like, what could possibly be important in this screen? I don't know. I have no idea. Okay. I guess let's just go home. Okay. Our ghast is still here. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, there's clues. There's clues. What is this? There's a bunch of arrows. This is important. Use the spyglass and then kill the ghast. Okay. Up. Oh, they did it. They did it. They brought the sheep. Oh my gosh, they succeeded. Dude, I think we might have to just kill the ghast. I'm confusion. There has to be, oh wait, what's here? What is this? This is an X. Oh, he wants me to stand here and then kill the ghast. If I break this, can I snipe this bozo? Yo, can I do it? Oh my gosh, are we just gonna try it? Oh my gosh. Here we go. I did it, dude. Is that it? Uneasy Alliance. I just got it. Is that all I had to do? I don't actually know if that's all I had to do, though. Wait, there's a map here. Why? What? Where is this? I didn't put this here. This was not here before. Where is this? Do I have to go find this map? Because I'm not on the map. This is a locked map. Do I just put this here? Do I just do this? Maybe I just do that. It's a bunch of red stuff. Could be anywhere. I spent the entirety of that night just flying around, searching for any signs of what that map had in place. And I couldn't find anything. It took 91 days, but I feel like I finally have like a choice in what I want to do in this world. So I guess the question now is like what do I want to do? How do I want to spend these last 9 days? Well, what is the most fun you can have in a Minecraft world in 2 hours? That's what I'm gonna try to do right now. First things first, I want to get one of these, and I think I want to go ahead and get a mace. That is my main goal right now. I hate it here. I literally hate it here. Oh, a key. Nice. Come on, baby. Show me the money. Heavy core. What? This is already looted? This has also been looted. That's so stupid. Fine. I'll take my keys and I'll go somewhere else where I'm appreciated. And pull out the old pie chart and we'll find a new trial chamber. Hello, children. I have come to save you. And by save you, I mean kill you with my sword. Brutally. Wow, emeralds. Literally just emeralds. That's freaking fascinating that I just got that. Dude, I'm gonna lose my mind. I hate these places. Why am I here? I said I wanted to have fun. What do? How do I want to remember the last 7 days? I don't know. I kind of thought I would be excited to be done, but I'm just feeling sort of lost. Just to kill the time, I ended up building a makeshift entrance into the bottom of the iceberg that supported the big watchtower thing that my other half had built. Honestly, I was just looking for something to do, so I thought maybe building would help my mind kind of calm down a little bit. Honestly, though, it really didn't help. Hey, look, if I'm gonna leave these guys in the world for all of eternity without ever logging on again, I'm gonna at least give them a friend, dude. Like, they deserve to have a family, too. I feel weirdly sentimental right now and, like, emotional. I really shouldn't care about this world. It's been nothing but confusing at best for me. Honestly, it's been a pain in my ass, but like, I don't know. I really feel like an attachment to this place and I'm kind of scared to leave. Oh, here we go. I see one. Oh, it's a different kind too. Diversity. We love diversity over this way. All right, buddy. I got someone I'd like you to meet. Come this way. Come this way. Yes, a little puppy. I get to have a family, bro. Have we any kittens over this way? Gotcha. Look at you two. So freaking adorable, bro. Here, make a cute little baby while you're at it. Look at it. Look at it. Oh my gosh. What's up, buddy? How are you doing? You seem a little lonely up here. Oh no. Oh no, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, that's not at all what I meant to do. Oh, I feel really bad about this. Oh no, I was gonna give him a friend. I was gonna put another guy up there with him. I just committed a murder. Here lies the pink sheep that traveled the world. Wait, no, there's I can fix this. I know where a pink sheep is. A naturally spawning pink sheep even at that. Unless somebody disposed of him. No, he's right here. Okay, cool. I knew he would come in handy, dude. I knew it. There we go. New guy's in place. Look at that. Like it never even happened. Oh, wait. Wandering Trader showed up? What's up, dude? He has melon seeds. I'm a melon. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Please, please, please. Let's go. 12 melons. Do I really need a diamond hoe to farm 12 melons? Yes. Yes, I do. Thank you very much for asking. This is the first time that I've planted seeds in the world. And actually, it's actually pretty fitting. Actually kind of iconic if you think about it. All right, I bet $20 that this one is gonna grow. You see this one melon that's not hydrated right now? Watch out for him. He's a sleeper, bro. He's gonna grow. It's gonna be the first one to grow in. That's why I think it's gonna happen. This is the melon observation platform. Oh no, dude. All right, so it's officially our last day in this world, and I think I just wanted to take today and kind of just do nothing, if I'm being honest with you. I did go ahead and I added like a little bit of a pathway that connects all the way over to where we spawned into the world initially. I am just gonna wait for nighttime, and I am gonna go to sleep in the very bed where I spawned into this world. And that's it. That is where the video ends. If I was a quitter, nah, dude, it's day 100. I gotta find where that map is. I need to find where that map is, bro. Okay, you know what? I'm taking you with me. I'm just gonna fly, dude, until I see this thing. I have to find where this leads. It's gonna eat away at me if I don't find it. And this is the last chance that I have. With no real way of knowing what direction to go, I just decided to start flying north in the event that it was the right way and maybe I would stumble onto something. As far as I can tell, like from my vibes, I feel like I remember north having the most frozen ocean, so like this is, I don't know, this is just like the best odds to find it. Oh my god, wait, I'm on the map now. Oh, it is this way. Okay, so it's more north and it's more east. Holy frick, dude. I'm actually here. Wait, it's lava. Where am I going? Wait, is it up here? Maybe it's up here at the top. This could be something. Wait, there's a torch, there's a torch, there's a torch, there's a torch. Oh my gosh. Congrats, you have completed your task. Now please notify your other self to meet you atop of this mountain for a podco. What is that? Best of luck on your pending reintegration. Lumen. Oh my gosh. Frick, dude, let's go. Oh, that's so hype. Hello, can I go home? Hello?
Hello, and welcome to the Minecraft Severance Program.
You've gotta be kidding me.
Selected 100 days. One mine complete. Vacation strictly pro. Any questions? Let's get started.